New York criminal trial. Immediately after the verdict, Mr. Trump denounced a trial that he describes as a sham orchestrated by the Biden team, meant to keep him off the campaign trail for as long as possible.
But this was a rigged decision right from day one, with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
It does not appear the guilty verdict will move the needle all that much when it comes to who people will be voting for in the presidential election.
67% of those responding to a Marist poll say a guilty verdict would have no influence on their vote. 17% say it would make them less likely to vote for Trump, but that's nearly offset by the 15% who say a guilty verdict would make them more likely to cast their ballot for the former president. The survey found that overall, two-thirds of voters have already made up their minds about who they'll vote for, and nothing's going to change it. Bob Agnew reporting.
Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels say a joint U.S.-Britain airstrike has killed more than a dozen people.
This is the highest publicly acknowledged death toll for strikes carried out over the rebels' attacks on shipping. The countries acknowledged carrying out the strikes on Hodeidah, Stana and elsewhere. The Houthis focused on a strike that hit a building housing Hodeidah's radio and civilian homes in the port city on the Red Sea.
That's correspondent Charles de Ledesma. An inflation gauge closely watched by the Federal Reserve has prices rising 0.2% from March to April. Year over year, it was a 2.8% increase. And on Wall Street, the Dow futures are up 70 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 60 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
For anyone living with everyday aches and pains, there's lots of things you can try. You know, tough it out. Bite the bullet. Grin and bear it. Or you can try something that has helped so many other people. Relief Factor. Relief Factor is 100% drug-free, a daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that address the inflammation where it starts. And Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain for a short time. It helps reduce or even eliminate it all day, every day. Wherever you're hurting, your back, neck, joints, or muscles, in about 3 weeks or less, you'll see a difference and rediscover what it's like to feel better and live better. So if everyday pain is affecting your life, don't go with the mind over matter approach. Try a Relief Factor instead. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
South Africa's governing African National Congress appears set to lose at least some of its long-time grip on power.
The ruling ANC party, the party of Nelson Mandela that has governed this country for 30 years, is standing to lose its majority in parliament. It has about 42% of the votes. Hot on its heels are the Democratic Alliance. They have about 23%. And surprisingly, we have the MK party, which has only existed for a few months now. This is a party that's backed by the former president, Jacob Zuma, himself an ANC party member. His party has about 11% of the votes.
The BBC's Catherine Bayer-Uhanga. Germany has joined the United States, authorizing Ukraine to hit some targets on Russian soil with the long-range weapons they're supplying. The move is a significant policy shift when it comes as depleted Ukrainian troops are losing ground in the war. Townhall.com. The contributions of the women who helped to make the Allies' campaign a success are being recalled as the 80th anniversary of D-Day approaches.
Pat Outram, who'll turn 101 next month, was a member of the Women's Royal Naval Service, known as the Wrens. And because she was fluent in German, her job was to listen in on German U-boats.
We did so many hours listening, searching on the radio sets to see if we could pick up a German naval station or ship.
Outram says a surreal moment leading up to D-Day was sitting on a cliff overlooking the English Channel and looking up to see Prime Minister Winston Churchill walking toward her. I'm Donna Warder.
Europe has yet to shake the stubborn inflation that has busted family budgets. Inflation ticked up to an annual rate of 2.6% this month, according to newly released government figures in Europe. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey everyone, this is Pat Boone and I'm running for New Mexico State Senate. I'm a straightforward guy, so instead of promising the moon, I'm going to tell you what I won't do. I, Pat Boone, won't say negative or underhanded things about my opponents to win this election. I won't bend to every idea to get your vote. I will be steadfast to my conservative ideals. I won't even send you a robocall because I know everybody hates them. I will ask you for your consideration. Pat Boone for New Mexico State Senate.
Paid for by Pat Boone, Martin McKay, Treasurer.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy, oh so happy Friday, everybody. It was a 4-day week, but it was still too long.
It was, yeah, even for a 4-day, it was still, it had a lot of oomph to it.
Yeah.
A lot of meat on them bones, you know?
Yeah. So, I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah, you weren't through a vehicle this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been reliant on chauffeurs to
one
get
more
around.
day. Today, I'm to get my Jeep back. Unfortunately, the place for it does need a new battery, but they didn't have one for one thing, and they had another, and I was like, they're like, we can run up here. I was like, don't worry. Just go to the other place and get it done.
Yeah. You're not stranded.
I'm not in dire straits
Right.
Yet.
Well,
but happy Friday.
it's going to make a money for nothing joke, but it just feel like the moment's passed. You're not in dire straits, not yet. Of course, that band's 30 years old at this point.
They're just still fascinated with microwave ovens.
And color TVs.
Custom kitchens. But a happy Friday, everybody.
Yes.
Hope all of you are having a delightful day thus far. It's, if not, still early. Could turn it all around.
That song sort of was the bane of my existence for about 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I got a complaint from a listener about a certain word in that song.
Oh, I know the certain word.
Yeah.
And
And so I fixed it. And then I got another complaint from several listeners about the fact that I fixed it.
yeah. Well, and all, I remember hearing that song, like back before Roswell's Talk FM was Roswell's Talk FM.
Mm-hmm.
It was Jack FM.
Yep.
Bob FM for a hot minute there.
Robbed by Bob.
Well, that was all legal stuff. If you really,
Yeah.
I mean, we spun it one way, but in actuality, the guy that created the Bob formats from Canada, and he had his whole thing, and then the distributors were like either undercutting him or he believed they were undercutting him, so he pulled his Bob format out of the system, and so we brought Jack in. But anyway, my point is,
It's like when Steve left Blue's Clues.
Yeah. Right.
I don't care who Joe is. He's not my Steve.
But anyway, they would regularly play that Dire Straits song, and they would not edit it.
Really?
It was left with the word in there. And I think I don't know why that song gets a pass on that one. I don't know if it's just because of I think
it's because it's buried.
Well, that in the context of it is making fun of that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like making fun of that.
Right, making fun of people who make fun of.
Yes,
exactly. I think it's technically pro.
Yeah, I think, but I got to pay attention to be honest on that one. I just hear it in the song.
I know there's at least a couple people out there who have never heard this song and they're like dying, like, what's the word? I'm not gonna say it.
Google it.
Just remember that alone by ourselves we're weak like a twig, but together we're strong like a bundle of twigs. That's all I'm gonna say.
I want to start a campfire. Very good. But yes, Dire Straits. I didn't have no desire to talk Dire Straits as well. I don't know where that came from.
Sometimes it just happens.
It's Friday. What are you gonna do? So.
Sometimes Dire Straits happen. Anybody who's ever lived in a trailer park understands that.
I have another Dire, but it's not Straits. Oh man. Let me give you the rundown right quick of today's show. We're going to replay some interviews for you today. Elaine Mayfield joined us early in the week talking Galacticon. That was actually yesterday. So we'll play that interview for you here in just a few minutes. We also had John LeMay, author, join us yesterday talking his latest book. So we'll play that interview for you in the 8 o'clock hour. And then earlier in the week, we had Bob Lavarakis join us with First Baptist Church of Roswell talking about their Vacation Bible School coming up here.
Yes, sir.
So we'll play that interview in the 9 o'clock hour.
Very good.
Yeah. Although I got a sneaky suspicion because the sheriff was going to be on. He usually comes on like the 2nd and 4th, but they had 5 Fridays this month.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if sheriff just pops in. It might be like because of the way the Fridays work. But so if they do, awesome. If not, we'll play our.
We've got you covered either way.
Exactly. Let's see what else we got going on. There's something else I was going to mention. I just completely forgot about it.
So speaking of campfire, because you're talking about starting bonfires.
Yeah.
I bought a thing last night, a smoking kit.
To smoke like wood? Or
yeah,
to smoke?
to add smoke to
or like a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. What are we talking?
That's what I got. No, it's a kit to add smoke flavor to usually whiskeys, bourbons, some of the more like barrel aged liquors.
Gotcha.
It comes with a little cup you put on top of it. It's a wooden like thing you put on top of the cup.
An old wooden ship.
It's got an old wooden ship. It's got a cup you put on top. You put these wood chips inside, and it comes with a torch.
Okay.
So you just torch it. You put a lid over the thing, and it just imbues smoke into your cocktails. Yeah.
Nice. Have you tried it yet?
No, I haven't gotten it in the mail yet.
Oh, okay. You just ordered it. I thought maybe.
So it's gonna be a fun weekend of experimentation.
All right. Of course, if you hear about a house fire this weekend.
He was far too wasted to do anything about it.
Some guy in his underpants with a whiskey in his hand, stand out in front of his house with a
ran out of the flaming inferno carrying half a bottle of Wild Turkey 101. A bottle of Elijah Craig and the other that he said he fat washed.
Oh man. Hey, the public is needed here. Your help is needed. The Gonzalez Hive.
Yes.
They are putting together blessing bags for the summer. And these bags are to help homeless get and just be kind of a kit to help them get through the summer months.
Absolutely.
Heat. So they're looking for donations to put these blessing bags together.
Okay.
Items they're looking for, obviously bottles of water for immediate consumption, but they also need reusable water bottles.
Yes.
So like the plastic bottles that you refill and all that. So if you got those, they'd love those too. Deodorant, sunscreen, lip balm with SPF in it, Band-Aids and like little first aid kit type stuff like that. Feminine care products, mints, baby wipes, little fans. Not sure people that really like
not like my daughter.
But fans.
Yeah.
Cooling towels, other shampoo, shavers, socks, underwear, toothbrush, toothpaste, non-perishable snacks, little crackers, cookies, nuts, things like that.
Sure.
Hats, sun hats that are good in the sun, umbrellas, glasses, any of that kind of stuff that they can put in these blessing bags that would be helpful. They do have an Amazon registry. It's got a bunch of dashes and dots. If you go to the Food Not Bombs Facebook page.
Mhm.
There's a link to it. You just click that link, and that way you can go down the registry rather than me read you all these big backslashes and .coms /registries because I'd still be doing it after the show. But yeah, if you go to the Food Not Bombs Facebook page, they have a link with the items they need, but there's also a link to the Amazon registry where you can just click, and have it sent directly.
And done.
But if you'd like to donate now, if you have any questions about any of this, you can contact Jocelyn at 575-208-9509. Again, that's 575-208-9509, and help get these bags together so that summer isn't officially started yet, but as you can tell, all next week's going to be 10 something.
Uh-huh.
So the quicker we can get this stuff to them, the quicker they can get it out to the people that need it.
I'll also throw in there, and you can find them usually at like Walmart. You can also find them on Amazon. But the packets, the little sachets of liquid IV or Pedialyte that you can mix into a bottle of water.
Oh yeah, okay.
Just for those added electrolytes, because you definitely want to make sure that they're staying hydrated. But when you're sweating, you're losing a lot of your salts, losing a lot of electrolytes. Very easy to get weak out there in Roswell heat. So
absolutely,
any of the electrolytes you can add into it, that's definitely appreciated. Also,
it's what plants crave.
That's true.
It's very true.
You're always getting water from the toilet.
Like from the toilet?
Toilet?
I think I'm due for a screening of that movie.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's on, I think, Hulu or one of those. I saw it floating around on one of those channels. Or Hulu or Netflix.
Well, us real ones have it on DVD.
Oh, I don't have a DVD player anymore. Oh, no, I do have one in the bedroom. I do have one sitting on that thing. I forgot. Yeah, right.
Kids, gather around. This is called a DVD
It's like,
player.
no, I got the DVD. I don't have a player.
Well, just put it on your finger, spin it real fast, and then look up.
Yeah.
It works. Totally works.
It totally does. It's like a record. You do
That's
it
right.
so you can listen to it, too. All right, 7:17. While you're spinning records, here's your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today. We're headed for the mid-90s, a little bit breezy, and we should get sunshine. Overnight, a few clouds drifting through. We're in the mid-60s, and then we have a cold front moving through on Saturday. We could get a few showers or thunderstorms. Some of those storms could have hail and very gusty wind. Our high in the mid-90s. Back to sunshine on Sunday and right around 100. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 67 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 63%. Winds out of the northeast at 8 miles per hour. We do have a 20% chance for some showers this afternoon. They're talking after 3 o'clock today. Mostly sunny. 91 our high today. So I'm not saying that's freezing, but it's not 100. So 91 today. So we'll take that. Winds will be out of the north at around 5 miles per hour. Tonight, we're looking at a 20% chance of showers, mainly before 9 p.m. So it looks like between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. today's our kind of window for rain. Partly cloudy, overnight low of 67 degrees with southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, we're looking at a 20% chance at afternoon showers and thunderstorms. They do throw the caveat that some of these storms could be severe. Mostly sunny otherwise, and a high of 94 tomorrow with southeast winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. 20% chance of rain for tomorrow night as well, mainly before midnight. Once again, they throw in that some of these storms could be severe in nature. Partly cloudy otherwise with an overnight low of 67. South winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Sunny and hot, highs back near 100 on Sunday. South winds 5 to 10 for the morning, 10 to 15 miles per hour for the afternoon. And then looking in the next week, like I said, it's going to be hot. 102 Monday, 102 Tuesday, 101 Wednesday. Now they're saying upper 90s by Thursday. Although I was seeing last night, like KOB's weather, they were talking like 105 for us on Wednesday. So either way, it's going to be hot next week. All right, 7:19, we're going to take a 4-minute break, and then we're going to play our interview with Elaine Mayfield talking Galacticon. Don't go away.
This is Chaves County Sheriff Mike Harrington. Candy Ezell is running for the state senate, and I want to tell you why she's the best person for this job. Candy has been fighting for us. As a
good
state
morning.
representative,
It is
she's been an
27
advocate
after
for
8
law
o'clock,
enforcement
joining
and
us
for the
in
rule of
the
law.
studio this morning.
She's been voting against
Elaine
Michelle
Mayfield back
Lujan
with us, wearing
Grisham's
her
attacks on the
Galacticon.
Second Amendment for years. And whenever Candy stands up and says no, people pay attention. That's why we need her in the state Senate. She's also been fighting for all the policies that have led us to the border crisis, including opposing catch and release of violent criminals, drivers, and professional licenses for illegals. A vote for Candy Ezell is a vote to restore law and order and to secure the border here in New Mexico. This is Chaves County Sheriff Mike Harrington asking you to vote for Candy Spence Ezell for State Senate District 32.
I'm Candy Spence Ezell asking for your vote in the upcoming Republican primary on June the 4th.
Paid for by Candy Spence Ezell for State Senate District 32.
This is State Senator Bill Scherer, the senior Republican in the State Senate. My voting record is ranked as the most conservative in the Senate. I want to tell you about my conservative Republican friend, Greg Nybert. I strongly endorse Senator Greg Nybert and urge you to support him as well. Behind the scenes in Santa Fe, Greg is a strategist and a tactician who helps our side defeat the progressive agenda. We desperately need him to help us fight MLG's agenda. Greg is the only Republican lawyer in the state Senate, and we cannot stop bad leftist legislation without him. That is just one of the reasons it is crucial you turn out to vote in this election for Greg Nybert. He is the conservative leader that New Mexico needs. Please vote for Greg Nybert in the upcoming Republican primary for State Senate.
Paid for by Greg Nybert for State Senate.
You're invited. Car Affair 2024, presented by the Cars Club of Carlsbad. Saturday, June 1st at the beach in Carlsbad. Early registration is Friday with a cruise. Then Saturday, car registration starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 10:30 a.m. Enjoy music, food, car-related swap meet, a 5K run, door prizes, and a special Try 5 Chevys area. To register or for more information, visit carsclubofcarlsbad.com.
When it comes to fighting the governor and her progressive lackeys in the state house, we need a proven conservative. This is Jared Hembry, and I have taken on the left-wing agenda as your conservative representative. New Mexico has serious issues, many of which are being ignored by the governor and the liberal left, and we need a representative who will fight to protect our way of life. I know what it takes to fight and win in Santa Fe. I am humbly asking for your trust and your vote on or before June 4th so I can continue to fight for what we believe.
Paid for by Jared Hembry for State Representative.
This is Chad Hamill, and I'm running to be your next senator for District 32. My opponent, Candy Ezell, can't defend her 20-year record in the Santa Fe swamp, so she's attacking other people's families and kids on the radio. That's the difference in this race. Candy attacks other people's kids while I'm running to protect yours. And on my record, as a fire chief, I have seen the devastation of open borders. Fentanyl overdoses are out of control. As a small business owner here in the community, I know firsthand how politicians in Santa Fe have destroyed small businesses for our communities. As a previous school board member, I know local control has been ripped away from our schools. It is time for a change. The same old just isn't working. I will be your conservative voice in Santa Fe. Career politicians have gotten New Mexico into this mess, but as a firefighter, I've made my living running towards problems, and I'm ready to fix the problems. I humbly ask for your vote on June the 4th so we can put the fire out in Santa Fe. Paid for by Friends of Chad Hamill.
The tool used to measure your feet at the shoe store is called a Brannock device. The person that measures your feet at home for no reason is called a creep with a foot fetish. Here's Mike Winters. Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 27 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in the studio this morning, Elaine Mayfield back with us wearing her Galacticon hat officially today. She's got many hats, but this one, we're just talking Galacticon today.
Yes.
Which if you're not familiar, is part of this year's, as it is always, part of the UFO Festival. And if you're not familiar, the UFO Festival this year, it's kind of because there's multiple entities doing things, Main Street, the Galacticon, the paper, the city, everyone's they got
UFO
the museum. They all have their own activities and events.
I call it a coalition.
Yeah,
I think that's correct.
And so when you go to the UFO Festival's website now, it's a combination of all the events together. So So if you want to plan your weekend out, it's like, oh, the museum's got a meet and greet thing over here, and then at Galacticon they got a panel discussion here. You can kind of plot and plan and be everywhere where you want to be, and not miss any events at anybody's stuff here.
And then of course Chris Stock at the Roswell Daily Record puts out a fabulous supplement that'll be out that week.
That kind of gives you a little,
and it'll be an overall plan as well.
Plan, guide, or you can kind of like back in the days when you used to wait for the TV guide to come in, and now you can plot with your television for the week. Now you can get that and plot your weekend as part of UFO Festival.
I quit taking TV guide when they wouldn't put in the correct time. Yeah, it was like you had to subtract 2 hours. No,
and in all fairness, I lucked out on that front because I grew up on the East Coast.
There you go.
So everything was centered around East Coast time. So I didn't have to play the game growing up. All right, it's on at 8. I mean, I got to backtrack 2 hours. But that being said, I lived in a world where Monday Night Football comes on at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So there's that.
Dinner's at 10.
Yeah. So there's that. But Galacticon is, again, part of the UFO Festival.
Right, yeah. We
July
started in
5th through 7th here.
2012.
Yeah. And so, and all of the Galacticon stuff is at the Roswell Convention and Civic Center.
Correct.
So you can go, and then of course, and highly recommend this. You kind of want to check back each day because there's different things going on each day. So you can get like a day pass or a pass that kind of. That way you can come and go, and you don't have to.
You come and go all day, right?
Yeah, you don't have to pay every time you go in there.
Yeah, we only charge $5, and that is if you look at the prices on any other con anywhere, but. We just need to pay for the room.
$5 won't even get you an autograph at half the panels anymore.
No. But that just it pays for the room, and we're not trying to make monies. We're there to entertain and have fun.
It's all about and really what Galacticon and any con is. It's about bringing the culture and inviting people that maybe aren't as invested in the culture a chance to see a little bit about it, you know,
and their kids are.
Yeah, like I truly believe all of us have a little nerd in you.
I think
a little
so.
bit. Whether your nerd thing is you know a certain type of thing or whatever it is, we all have. It's just your own little. And to be honest, athletic types don't want to hear this. You jocks, you're nerds too. It's just you're nerds for footballs and baseballs. But you do the same nerd things with your footballs and baseballs as the nerds do with their
fandom
with
thing.
It's the same place, same id in the brain, the whole thing.
Yeah, everybody in sci-fi has their favorites. I'm a Farscape fan, which is people, huh? But the wit on that show, and I grew up in the Star Trek era, so
And you know what I have a huge soft spot for the Gil Gerard, Buck Rogers TV series because I was a kid right in that when it was out, and to me it was and it even to me was even more than Star Wars because Star Wars was there, but like I way dug the Buck Rogers toys better.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember watching Will Robinson, Lost in Space. And
but that late 70s Buck Rogers was kind of where I kind of got in as a kid.
With the wonderful sci-fi effects, right?
Yes. And what's her name from Silver Spoons was in it too. Something Gray, I think her name was Erin Gray.
Gray.
Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah.
But anyway, but that's what Galacticon is. It's a celebration of all.
Right,
and
we we call it a sci-fi con, not a comic con. A comic con is centered more in the comic.
Sure.
But now there's the cons for everything: anime con and sci-fi con and steampunk con.
And that's kind of how the con just evolved anyway.
It just means convention.
Yeah, a con was originally a bunch of people in probably a hotel somewhere in the middle of Detroit or wherever, with boxes of comic books.
Right.
And they're trading and selling. And that's how San Diego, it started there. And then, now a Comic Con in San Diego's basically the official release of anything, that's got a universe.
Yeah. And tickets are hundreds.
Yeah, and you got to fight to get in, and you got to know people. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But and then of course, now there's cons. Albuquerque has their con every year, and things like that. And Galacticon is Roswell's con here. And but like you said, the whole con concept has evolved since the 60s or 70s, whenever these started.
Probably, later than that, maybe. I'm not sure exactly when.
I was thinking 70s, maybe they started doing cons.
Could be.
But anyway.
Well, we were first Cosmicon, which is a cool name.
Yeah.
But we got a cease and desist letter from Comic-Con in San Diego.
That was too close.
And we didn't have the bucks to fight that one.
Yeah, they got too many lawyers at this point and everything else. So Galacticon it's now evolved over the years to Galacticon here.
Right.
And it's like you said, it's all things sci-fi. Over the years, and even still to this day, there is a kind of a little bit bigger or stronger steampunk culture as part of this, because some of the founding and original people
here that helped us,
and so
it started off as a film a film festival, and through Alan Trevor and some of the people, but as it went by, he moved, and we didn't have anybody else with that passion. So it kind of evolved into the con part of it, with the merch hall and various aspects of entertainment.
Now it's kind of all things science fiction.
And the Roswell Daily Record picked up a couple of years ago the film festival.
Excellent. So it's great to see we still have it, just kind of in kind of a more modern or evolved form, I guess, a little bit here. And but so like I said, I highly recommend you go and get a schedule, check out all the stuff. I even if you don't think there's anything in that building that you're interested in, I guarantee you're going to go through and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. I want to check that out. Like even if you're into arts and crafts and decor and things, there's so much of that there. Obviously there is the collectibles and the cosplay and the costuming and all that kind of stuff. But part of it too is the world of it and the decor and the here's a Star Wars theme plate set or stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of
exactly.
Yeah, it's as much of gifts and collectibles and things like that. And so even if say maybe you have with Father's Day, we'll probably pass Father, but with the season, shopping, even if you got a bunch of
I do my Christmas shopping year round.
Exactly. I'm just saying, you got some friends or family that is into these things. Be like, hey, I can go shopping. It's like find these collectibles, find these things that your family will love. Do that as part of this too. But it's really a family community. Come and meet the people, and that's the great part about it is whether you're into Pokemon or you're into Marvel or you're into something very obscure, some anime or something that like you and three other people know about. That they all come together, and they all and it's a sharing of a love of that and a compare and contrast and not gonna lie, I'm sure they start little debates on why one's cooler than the other and if that is that, and try to sway people to your side and stuff. But there's gonna be gaming. It's really a weekend.
Right, we have a very strong gaming component,
and that's kind of evolving into it too. Is like you're talking about evolving in things as you see, people making 6-figure salaries on gaming nowadays. That's becoming part of the mainstream and part of,
and it had a resurgence during the pandemic because people were at home and they're like, oh, I'm so bored. Oh, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. And so there is a lot of demand for that. So this con's even evolved to a point where that's even coming in to where you're getting the gamers coming in with the cosplayers and the comic book collectors and and granted, a lot of these folks have a foot in all three. Like they play some of the games. They also are cosplayers, and they have a room full of Funko Pops and things.
That's right. We definitely have a Funko Pop guy coming. That's for sure. If you don't know what that is, look it up or ask your teenager.
Yes.
Or preteen.
Yeah, they're kind of like, but you can spot them once you spot them right away.
Yeah.
All Funko Pops have a unique, artistic look to each one of them.
Right.
So
they're small little figurines with big heads.
Yeah. It gets the best of real form versus cartoon mashing.
And they're
together.
everything you can think of.
Yeah.
I mean,
where you get the Seth MacFarlanes and these guys that try to create in elaborate detail. Funko's a little less serious than that.
Exactly, but they have them for everything. I mean, you can find every character
from
you can
Simpsons
think of.
to Breaking Bad to probably obscure things that that no one else knows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Talk about marketing.
Yeah.
Woo.
Well, that's in the collectible world. I think they took the lessons of your Beanie Babies and Cabbage Patch Kids and kind of evolved it into something a little
bit but more recognizable.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
And absolutely. But that's what Galacticon is. It's really 3 days of just
we have
fun.
a few changes this year. We when the city stepped back, the full main hall became available, so we rented that. So we really need more vendors.
So we're hoping
Now's
to
the time.
more space, more vendors, more activities, more everything. So
so we're doing that. We're increasing the size of our Star Child Academy.
Excellent.
Which is a real children's area, and they'll have takeaways, things they can take. Angela Strange does that. She does a fabulous job.
What perfect place, because at the end of the day, Galacticon is all about imagination.
Exactly.
And what better place
than to start that, yes.
Start that right there.
Absolutely.
And give them the world. It's like all the universes are at your disposal here.
Exactly.
Have fun with it, you know?
So we've got the big hall. We also have a small, one of the rooms B, that we have a free hall that people can come in and hear some interesting talks and a workshop and some odd things
the
like
panels
that.
And kind of pick brains of people and things like that.
The city has stepped back as far as running events and are going back to like it was before with like lodgers tax funding for promotion and marketing. And one of the things, they let each of us put in a request for a grant from lodgers tax and things. And what we decided to do was a free, family-oriented water and playground park.
Excellent. Which it's always hot during your festival weekend, so a nice little place to cool off a little bit.
And we have hired Let's Play Entertainment.
Excellent.
To do because they have great.
Oh yeah,
stuff
they got all their stuff for parties
and managed
bounce
people
houses
there
and all the water, even water bounce houses and things. Yeah, they
so
got
we'll
all
have all that
there
there all 3 days, and so that's a good draw for people to come up and let the kids lose some energy.
Yeah. Are they going to bring like the sumo and those things too?
I don't think so. We don't have a lot of room for that.
Okay. That was just in case someone
needed
on
grass.
If someone needed to get some aggression out, take it to the sumo ring.
I also didn't pick the mechanical bull. However, we're kind of gearing toward maybe.
I'm not trying to stereotype here, but people that spend hours and hours loving the world that you'll see in Galacticon probably are not the best athletes on a mechanical bull.
Probably not.
Just doesn't vibe together. Just saying, read the room on that. But,
exactly.
But if you want to get a fat suit and punch out, I think that's a good idea. But anyway.
You're right. Yeah, I like that. Feel like a robot.
Yeah.
But we're really excited about having that opportunity, and the RDR, Roswell Daily Record, shares the convention center with us, and they'll be doing the film festival.
Yeah,
and they're going to be doing a free film on Thursday night. Remember, we used to do that.
Oh yeah,
way
come
back
out
in
and
the
watch
day.
The movie and bring the, sometimes on the lawn there, you go bring a blanket and usually
so we'll
some
be
food
doing
trucks,
that.
There's some vendors there,
and that patio's enclosed now, but that's where we'll be doing the film. But it is free. And so we encourage everybody to come out Thursday
bring
night.
The kids, the family.
They're also hosting Clyde Lewis on Friday night.
Excellent.
And then they'll be doing the films in the day and hopefully showing the winning films from the festival on Sunday and in that time.
For all you Clyde Lewis fans, if you've never seen him live, I highly recommend you get a chance to see it. It's so cool. To me, now I'm a radiophile, so and you hear the Clyde Lewis, his opening music. I'm Clyde Lewis. Like every time I hear, like, oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
But to see him do it in person and do it, it's kind of it hit me different,
Exactly.
And I've seen it a couple dozen times.
Well, he'll be
now.
at the convention center on Friday, and then he'll go between downtown and the museum on Saturday and Sunday, back and forth a little bit. So, but. The main thing, we have air conditioning.
That, you know what?
I must repeat.
Maybe that's the first thing. Galacticon on the big poster. Galacticon, air conditioned comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do lock up at night, which and the vendor wise, we get the vendor, maybe a jeweler that doesn't want to be on the street
they
and
have lots
to
of merchandise.
haul it back
That's
again.
Expensive stuff. And,
so we get the jewelers and that type of thing. We have many vendors, and we have some interesting ones this year that are coming. Some authors from way out of town.
Oh, great. So some great, and some local authors as well, too.
John,
matter of fact, next
John
hour,
LeMay and E.J. Wilson.
John's going to be in next hour to promote his new book. So he will be at Galacticon.
And he's always there, and he's fabulous to talk to and chat with. E.J. Wilson from Dexter is a Star Trek expert.
Excellent.
And he sells his Star Trek book, and he does also fictional writing.
Ooh, because they get in all kinds of debates in the Star Trek world.
Oh, yeah.
Especially depending on, and it's usually based on age. Like older people like the original Star Trek, maybe get into the next generation. Younger, probably like one of the more newer series kind of things, and that creates all kinds of debates.
Yeah. And we have Frank back with his droids, the little R2-D2s.
Those are always hits
work.
at the Galacticon.
Yes, everybody loves
interacting with everybody.
Right. And he goes between us and the UFO Museum as well.
So he'll be out and about all weekend.
Yeah,
so.
he'll be there all weekend. He's kind of headquarters with us and goes over there for a couple hours each day.
Everyone's headquarters where the air conditioning is.
You bet. It's real easy to offer that.
That's right. And people are they go, oh, yeah. They're kind of hoping. Lane's let me sit up over there because they got air conditioning.
Exactly. And I also have coming in this year named Steve Garcia.
Okay.
He's an animator and an illustrator, born and raised in Albuquerque.
Excellent.
Yeah, lives in Austin now. And he is coming. And he did Iron Giant.
The Iron Giant, which was a very popular movie.
Very family-oriented.
Yeah.
We're going to try to get that rented and shown.
Excellent.
Yeah. And,
is that a Disney property or Pixar?
I don't think so.
I don't remember. I'm trying to remember if that was one or not.
I don't think so because it's available on SWAC or
and that's
whatever.
What I'm about to say. I was like, if it's Disney, it might be harder to procure.
Forget it. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
But I was trying to think. Is that Disney?
That reminds me. I think they are showing Saturday night after the parade. They're showing a film as well.
Excellent.
The Clyde goes on Friday and then that. So,
good deal.
Yeah, the parade is at 8:00 on Saturday. And but anyway, Steve Garcia is a super nice guy. Bringing him in. He's going to have a booth there. You can meet him and talk to him. And especially you young people that are interested in drawing and artistry. I think that's a great place to start.
Absolutely. Get that. It's granted, we live in a world where computers and things do a lot of things that we had to do by hand in previous. However, I think when you're in that art form, use the technology to everything that it's advanced, but you got to know the basics. You got to know.
That's right.
You got to know the origins of it. Like the best musicians, sure, in this day and age, if you know how to work a computer, you could be a musician, but the real best musicians understand music and the composition and how it's done. It's no different when creating animation or artwork in that way. You got to know.
You got to be able to grab a piece of paper and a
pencil.
pencil.
The rules. Yeah. You got to know the rules and the formulas to make. And then once you know that, then you can bend them and manipulate them to create the art that you want.
Exactly. But it's a great place to talk to somebody that's been there and done that.
Mm-hmm. So exactly, firsthand experience, a person that got into the circles that you yourself are dreaming about one day to be in.
Exactly.
You're in the room at Disney or Pixar or whatever, creating the next Frozen movie or whatever's out
exactly.
there. That's exactly. So
we also will be doing cosplay this year. We have, for many years, did the alien costume contest for Main Street, but they are doing it now as well. We are still doing the pet contest.
Okay.
And
but you can still sign up and everything through the same
we all
website
work
because it's
together.
all together.
It's a coalition. We're all working
but
together.
But as far as the actual hat, who's making sure it happens, Main Street's taking over the
So the costume contest is on Saturday at 6, and that's because it's before the parade.
Yes.
So we are having it all day on Saturday with giving awards at 4:00.
Okay.
And we're going to do kind of a people's choice thing.
Okay.
With a kind of like you do on a raffle.
Okay. So where can they vote at Galacticon?
Yeah, it's only at Galacticon there that they
when
can
you're
vote.
in there sucking up air conditioning and checking out, make sure you vote on your favorite costume too.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had 16 cosplayers at Tal Day.
Oh, great.
Last weekend.
Excellent.
We had a great time Tal Day last weekend.
Yeah,
it was fun.
I saw the photos.
Very laid back, very interesting.
As the whole event is designed to be.
It's much more laid back than a con.
It's so if you did see people walk around town with a towel over their shoulder over the weekend, and you missed our radio and everything, and wondering what that was going, it was Towel Day.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy homage to the author of that.
Absolutely. So, but we had, like I said, 16 cosplayers, which we were thrilled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was really
some
great.
Good prizes.
It was a great treat to we had Oddfell on here last week.
Isn't she a joy?
It was great to talk to her, and she was fun to talk to, and kind of I like talking with people like that to get a little inside baseball in the cosplay world, and she was very receptive to share that with us. And I was I loved it because that's the part I love about these things. Even if I'm not into that thing per se, I love how the thing got to be where it is. That's where I get fascinated by. Like I haven't watched wrestling since I was 8 years old, but I'll watch every documentary about the era and the times and the old because I just love that. I love hearing those stories and hearing
we're docuphiles.
Yeah, how it happened. So, but anyway, Galacticon's a lot of that too. So please come out now. That being said, we still have room for vendors and things.
Yes.
If, like we said, we got more space this year. So
yes, I doubled the space, so I need vendors.
If you are interested in being a vendor at this year's Galacticon, it is not too late.
Right.
However, please don't wait anymore. Please get in touch. Please
Yeah,
get in touch with Elaine.
We're
now.
almost June.
Yeah,
the day after tomorrow.
We're almost under a month away.
Yeah, it's like 5 weeks away from today or tomorrow. Whatever, tomorrow.
As of here in a day or two, it's
and
next
of course
month,
we have vendors outside at the main street. We have vendors inside at the Galacticon, and we'll have probably 4 or 5 food vendors at Galacticon. You can actually request to be at the convention center.
Excellent.
And we'll take about 4 or 5. We don't want to overload.
Sure. Well, and we don't want them to outcompete each other either.
No,
give them a good variety for people. It's like, hey, we got a burrito
everybody
truck.
Got to make money.
We got a burger truck. We got a pizza truck or whatever.
Exactly. So they can go either direction or whatever. And,
absolutely. And of course, the idea is you're going to get hungry more than once because you want to hang out. You be there in the morning,
and the children are playing. You're going to have to feed them a little bit.
couple 3 hours later, you're hankering for a taco or something.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So please come out and of course, obviously, if you're looking to be a vendor during the UFO festival, I point back to Galacticon has air conditioning and all those things that are the perks here.
Right, and we do charge a little bit more, but we have a big building to pay for.
Sure,
and
like
and security we lock up.
And to be honest, your customer linger time is going to be longer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just do basic bare bones marketing. If your customers are in a more comfortable situation, they're going to stop and look at jewelry a little bit longer.
That's right.
If they're hot and sweaty, they're like, oh, that's nice, but it's too hot. Move on to the next. You know what I mean?
I'll come back later.
Where in Galacticon, they're probably killing time. Maybe they're thinking, well, I got to go next thing at 3 o'clock and it's hot. I'm going to hang out in the air conditioner for an hour till then.
Exactly.
And they're going to linger longer.
And we charge $5 as admission. It's very reasonable. So, children are free, 11 and under.
So all you business heads out there, I'm offering you that as a good alternative here.
Absolutely.
For the UFO Festival to get the best of both worlds, get a great crowd, get people that are going to be there longer, and by the way, more comfort for you because you're in air conditioning and you don't have to worry about and your feet from a bathroom at any time.
That's true. Several.
Which outside you can't guarantee that always.
Let me just run through the days because it's interesting. 4th of July is Thursday this year.
Yeah, it is a little unique. It's post 4th of July.
It's actually one of the best.
Yeah, it's not a bad
thing. I've been doing this since 2007, and it really is the best because people are off that week now.
And there's always been, and Roswell in this community has done a great job of separating the two.
We always shut it off.
There's always an undertone of, man, the 4th of July should nothing do with you because it's its own thing. And yes, you're right, we do, but because now that the 4th is first, it allows a little more buffer between the UFO Festival and
But
July
people have
4th.
that and usually set Friday off.
Yeah.
So they come on with Friday noon to 6 Galacticon and till late at night we'll be at the downtown.
Yeah.
It'll be like 10 or 11. So Saturday, 10 in the morning we start and we cut off at 6.
Okay.
Again, parade is at 8. They got things going downtown, and downtown is fabulous with all kinds of music and everything.
You go through Main Street Roswell to register for the parade, right? If you
Main Street does.
And we're going to get them on here soon here to tell everybody. But
I'm on that committee.
If you're interested in being in the UFO Festival parade, always alien themed lights.
Yes.
It's at night.
It's at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So
which is not dark yet, by the way.
Not July in New Mexico.
By the time they get down the road, maybe.
But they turn off the town lights downtown, so it's a little bit darker, and then they carry. But now's the time to get with Main Street, get your entry forms turned in and all that, so they can get the lineup and get all that.
And the
together.
costume contest as well.
And same with the costume and pet costume contest.
Right, and then the Sunday we're 10 to 4.
Excellent.
Yeah, and. RDR also has some late night things, like I said, Clyde Lewis free films at the convention center as well.
Excellent.
And the playground water park will probably follow ours unless if they're making if people are there and happy. I'm sure he's not going to close.
Exactly.
Sergio's a good guy.
Yeah, he'll be there as long as the people are pretty much.
And then the pet costume contest, they can enter that even the day of.
Excellent.
And it's on the courthouse lawn.
Be kind to the planners and give them a little head. That way they can plan accordingly.
Yes, it does.
And if you've never been a part of those costume contests, get your butt out there this year and watch them and check them out. That's so much fun.
We've had 1,000 people watching.
And granted, UFO Festival, we want to invite the world to come see us, But the costume contests are kind of the local. I mean, it doesn't have to be. We all are invited to party, but that's the one thing the locals really like to embrace, is the cost. So a lot of times the dogs, and we get amazing families that bring their dogs, cats.
We had a horse one year.
Horses. I would say it's not always been dogs or cats.
They painted a horse green.
Sometimes it's been animals of the farm and ranch variety.
And we had a bedazzled bearded dragon. It is fun. And the Real Pickles Kennel Club is in charge of that with the Galacticon. Yeah. And the Wildlife Emporium is our new sponsor.
Oh, excellent. That. Yeah. So please check those out. Come watch them. And certainly if you...
9 o'clock Saturday morning.
Yeah, and they're great.
Well, it's cool.
Yeah.
Sorry it's early, but it's cool.
It's the pets and the paws and everything else. That's what they do it on the grass. So it keeps it, But ideally, we don't want the pets exposed to too much heat out there.
Exactly, and it's on the courthouse steps. So
yeah, when you got a furry butt and you pant through your tongue, you tend to get hot quicker. So.
That's right. 2-legged or 4-legged.
That's right. Yeah, never mind. But the big things now is we still need vendors. If you're interested in being a vendor, please reach out. Sign up now. I know this is more of a Main Street thing, but for the various contests and everything that you want to get involved in, please go to the UFO Festival's website. Start the complete schedule events for everything. Definitely through Galacticon. I'm guessing the other entities have their schedule events up there as well. That way you can start planning and plotting. If you got family coming into town that weekend, you can kind of start teasing them and maybe sending them stuff. Say, hey, is there certain things you want to do while you're here? Here's the schedule at UFO Fest.
Yeah, at minimal cost. I mean, it's $7 to get in the UFO Museum.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you haven't been there in a while, you need to go.
They've done a lot of
they're really getting up, electronics,
kind of high-teching up a little bit.
High-teching it up, and interaction and things of that sort.
Absolutely.
And they've been doing a lot over there. There's a lot to see.
And to be honest, most of us, just general public folks, we see the museum and we look at the various artifacts and go, that's cool, or you think it's real? Do you think we have?
Well, I was there 2 years ago. I don't need to go back.
But the real treasure of the museum is the research center for people that are researching and trying to find evidence. And there is a whole, and most people don't even walk through that side, and it's open to the public. Libraries and rooms full of books and
it is a research center,
and it is a literal UFO library, as well as a museum and all that other stuff. So I invite people to, especially if you've been to the museum a few times and think, go to the research side and check things out. I guarantee you'll find a chair, pick up a book, and you'll probably be lost for the next 3 hours. That's
absolutely. But like I say, it's a very low cost, fun time for 3 full days.
Absolutely.
You could spend less than $100.
Absolutely.
For the whole weekend for the whole family.
Now, if you want to spend more, you can, because we got lots.
And you can spend less than that too if you don't eat there.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing too is as far as the local side, obviously always being the ambassadors and all that, but it is that chance to try new things that come to town too. When you get these vendors, and obviously even the outdoor vendors with the unique food creations and their alien eggs and all these different. That's part of the fun too, is the experience. So you could turn it into a culinary weekend, you could turn it into a sci-fi weekend, you could turn it into an alien thing, or you can just turn it into a weekend of all of the above.
Get your fix.
So say you're like, well, I'm not into aliens, but I'm a foodie. All right, well then make it do a pub crawl type thing and just hit every food stand and food truck and vendor and compare and contrast.
There you go.
Have some fun with it. Get one thing at each one. Make it your weekend. Just
exactly
that thing. And so
exactly, it's home.
Absolutely. And if you want to get the uberest of nerd, guess what? You got a bunch of people with you. If you're just passing through, like I just want to see the people in the foil hats, come on down. We love that too.
Well, and I try to tell people that there's a very serious side to this as well. There's the fun side with the foil hats. That was what reminded me. But there's also speakers at the UFO Museum that are on a very serious side.
And they're going to make you think.
Yeah, people that have an abduction story.
Yeah. And that's the thing that gets me every time. I kind of come in, it's like, something happened. I don't know. I don't know, but there's too many people with too many experiences that you just can't brush off as crazy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so... I just saw the time. I got to get ads in.
I know.
But please give out the
I can always talk.
Yes, right. And we're going to have her on. But Give out the UFO Festival website one more time for everybody.
The UFO Festival website is just RoswellUFOFestival.com. Right. Yes. And we're RoswellGalactica.com.
I always botch it and say like I get those or something mixed up.
Yeah, and that's AlienFest.com is the Main Street.
Excellent. And then, but all of that you can find at either one of everyone.
Yeah,
but
just Roswell UFO Festival take you right there.
And what's the best way to get a hold of you if they want to be a vendor or any part of this year's Galacticon?
Probably go to RoswellGalacticon.com.
Excellent.
It has my contact
number, email, and
applications and stuff. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you, ma'am. We'll see you here next time. And
absolutely.
I'm sure you got a few.
We only got 5 weeks. We'll be here a lot.
Absolutely.
There's a lot to say.
There is. All right. It is 8:58. I got to take this break before news. It's going to run long. I apologize, but I got to play the ads or I get in trouble. So quick break. We'll be back.
This is Chad Hamill, and I'm
back what we have lost. With your vote, you can join this fight. We can no longer squander our vote and our voice as if we're voting in a high school popularity contest, nor can we continue electing self-serving politicians that claim to fight for you while making backroom deals that have facilitated the erosion of your liberties while destroying our livelihoods. My association with various different grassroots organizations, patriot groups, and activists has led to statewide citizen participation efforts to initiate grand jury investigations and the referendum of historically egregious laws. Similar efforts are being planned. These efforts will continue far into the future. We have within our reach the tools and weapons we need to end this tyranny and stop the assault on our faith, our liberties, and our way of life. We have the God-given authority to take back what we have lost. If you vote for Larry Marker, you're not voting for me, you're voting for we.
Paid for by the committee to elect Larry Marker.
Our Vacation Bible School theme this year is Camp Discovery. The 5 Bible stories that will be taught share this great theme of discovery. The David and Goliath story shares the discovery of how God's chosen people should always trust in the strength of God. The Deborah story shares the discovery of how even the unexpected person can lead God's people to victory. The story of blind Bartimaeus being healed by Jesus shares the discovery of the power of God over physical health. And the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shares the discovery of God's power in the face of death. The last story, the story of Saul and Ananias, shares the discovery of how God can take the chief of sinners and the scared Christian and show them the true path that God has planned for both of them. We invite your children ages 3 through 6th grade to join us in discovering the amazing power of God and the characters of the Bible. But more importantly, we want them to discover the power that God can have in their lives. So join us for VBS Monday through Friday this week.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Hello, this is State Senator Greg Nibert. As you know, I represent Chaves County in the State Senate for District 27. I've represented us in the legislature for 8 years. I'm asking for your vote so that I can continue to be your strong voice for Chaves County. It is important that you go vote. Voting in Chaves County has been light, and there are contested races on the ballot this year, so your vote is very important. Early voting ends Saturday, and Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. As your state senator, I will continue to protect our Second Amendment rights, the right to life, our oil and gas industry, and our conservative Republican values. And I will, of course, do my best to bring economic development and growth to our community, as I did with the recently announced Reno air races. I humbly ask for your vote for Greg Nibert in the upcoming Republican primary so we can keep Chaves County strong. Please go vote early this week. Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th.
Paid for by Greg Nibert for State Senate.
Strong women need strong partners to help them lead their healthiest lives. At Artesia General Hospital, Dr. Scott Beard and nurse practitioner Lori Crockett deliver compassionate, holistic care to women at every age and stage. From routine checkups to diagnostic testing and specialty services like urogynecology, you can expect the most innovative, personalized care close to home. Learn more about women's services at Artesia General Hospital online at artesiageneral.com/women or by calling 575-736-8394. Many women's services are also offered in Carlsbad.
Hey everyone, this is Pat Boone and I'm running for New Mexico State Senate. I'm a straightforward guy, so instead of promising the moon, I'm going to tell you what I won't do. I, Pat Boone, won't say negative or underhanded things about my opponents to win this election. I won't bend to every idea to get your vote. I will be steadfast to my conservative ideals. I won't even send you a robocall because I know everybody hates them. I will ask you for your consideration. Pat Boone for New Mexico State Senate.
Paid for by Pat Boone, Martin McKay, Treasurer.
Now your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. No injuries reported, thank goodness, after 2 tornadoes were reported in eastern New Mexico on Wednesday. Storms also dropped hail the size of tennis balls around Clovis. Power lines were also brought down in the strong winds. The city of Clovis, though, says there have been no reports of any major structural damage to homes or buildings. A representative, Roosevelt County Electric, said 25 power poles were blown down there. A little closer to home, the Missoula Children's Theater is looking for aspiring young actors to take part in this year's production of Jack and the Beanstalk. Auditions are being held on June 17th at the Ocotillo Performing Arts Center. Auditions are open to students in grades 1 through 12. No advanced preparation is necessary. Auditioners should arrive at 9:30 a.m. and be prepared to stay for at least 2 full hours. Some students will be asked to stay for a rehearsal afterwards. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
Talk radio has landed on the all-new 106.5 FM KEND Roswell.
Hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. American voters are speaking out about the Trump guilty verdict, and so too is official Washington. House Speaker Mike Johnson saying it virtually assures Mr. Trump's re-election in November.
There is an incredible energy on the ground that existed before this, but I was here in Ohio doing events when this came down yesterday, and I'm telling you that the enthusiasm is through the roof right now. People are so disgusted at what they're seeing the Democrats and the left do. They're highly motivated, and I just have never seen this kind of energy.
Speaker Johnson speaking with the Salem Radio Network's Hugh Hewitt. As for Mr. Trump, he says he has just begun to fight.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here.
Mr. Trump says what happened here is a show trial staged in one of the bluest locales in the country, presided over by a partisan judge who hindered the defense at every turn while giving the prosecution free rein, who muzzled him with an unconstitutional gag order, who denied a change of venue request, and who issued highly questionable jury instructions. Sentencing, July 11th, Mr. Trump facing potential prison time. The Biden team says no one's above the law. President Biden is giving Ukraine the go-ahead to use American weapons to strike military targets inside Russia, targets used to attack Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkiv. Police say it was an ambush. A Minneapolis officer is dead, killed while providing medical care to a man who then turned around and shot him. The suspected gunman and another person were killed, a third person gravely injured in the shootings. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is up 10 points, while the Nasdaq is down 40. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
It has been one problem after another with that U.S. military-built Gaza aid pier. We have an update from the Media Line's Michael Friedson.
The temporary pier assembled on the Mediterranean coast of the Gaza Strip has lasted barely a week before being torn apart by high winds and rough seas. The project had been intended to provide a path to delivering sufficient humanitarian supplies to stave off hunger in the Palestinian enclave as the war between Israel and Hamas terrorists rages on. But critics who are mocking the $320 million effort insist that the pier was constructed more as a diversion than a solution. Officials estimate a daily need for 600 trucks bringing in supplies to satisfy the need. Before its destruction, the military-built pier failed to deliver the predicted 160 trucks. I'm Michael Friedson, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at themedialine.org and more information at townhall.com. After a long slumber, an Icelandic volcano that awoke late last year hasn't settled down just yet.
Scientists say the eruption on Wednesday was the fifth and most powerful since the volcanic system near Grindavik reawakened in December after 800 years, gushing record levels of lava as its fissure grew to more than 2 miles in length. Volcanologist David McGarvey says the amount of lava flowing from the crater initially released enough material each minute to bury Wembley Stadium in London, which seats 90,000 under about 50 feet of lava. Grindavik, a coastal town, and the popular tourist spot, the Blue Lagoon, remained evacuated. Bernie Bennett reporting.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom taking heat for his proposal to eliminate an optional Medicaid benefit for some disabled illegal immigrants. California's Medicaid program includes a benefit that pays for caregivers to come to the homes of disabled people and care for them. The governor says that balancing California's budget requires tough choices. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce.
Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed, yeah.
I wish that was on somewhere.
I think you could probably still find it on like My TV or like what's that
See, I don't even think they go that old anymore with the My TV stuff, because I was looking and like now they show like The Nanny and
let's see, where can
shows from like the 80s. I don't know if they go like Mr. Ed. You have to go to like.
Well, you can watch Mr. Ed on the following services: Roku, Prime Video, and Apple TV.
Oh, I have 2 of those.
Yeah. It says DDD Television and Continuum Television Network, as well as Divinity Universal. So, yeah, there you go.
Good. Maybe I'll have to...
Oh, and Apple TV also.
Yeah. Like that one, Rin Tin Tin, remember all those?
Yeah. Well, okay, so...
They were all like in reruns when I was a kid. Because they were... Yeah. I'm not that old.
You're not that much older. But when I was a kid, I remember Nick at Night had a very specific lineup. And I remember this because my mom and dad and I shared a room. Mm-hmm. My bed was here, their bed was here. I used to wake up in the middle of the night while the TV was still on and watch Nick at Night. Quietly so they wouldn't wake up. Mm-hmm. But it was always Mr. Ed, mm-hmm. My Three Sons, mm-hmm. and the Patty Duke Show.
Oh, yeah, Patty Duke Show. A couple others that they threw in the mix.
The Donna
Reed Show?
Donna Reed Show. Yeah. That was a big one, too.
Yeah, another one was popular in there was the Phil Silver Show. Which
that was like the first iteration of. Oh, okay.
That's the original Bilko. Yeah, right. Yeah, Sergeant Bilko and all that, and if I remember right, I remember seeing the Bilko movie. I was like, oh, those are, and I knew, because was it Steve Martin played Sergeant Bilko in the movie, which
it was funny because right around that same time, it was like Sergeant Bilko and McHale's Navy both came out around the same time. And I had no idea that either one of those were based on like television properties from back, because I was a kid when that came out. Down Periscope weirdly came out around the same time. It was a big time for like submarine movies. C movies, yeah. Forget your B movies. We're watching C movies tonight.
And in all fairness, down Periscope is 10 times better than McHale's Navy.
Yeah.
As far as movies go.
Yeah. Well, as far as the movies go, absolutely. Kelsey Grammer is hysterical in that. Rob Schneider's role in that is great.
What's his name? 7 Minute Abs guy. What's his name? I can't remember his. He's a comedian too. He's in a bunch of stuff. What is he was in Half Baked. I see his face. I just can't remember his name.
It's gone.
It's gonna hit me about.
Here comes the Google.
About noon today.
He's just gonna scream it out.
You know, it's funny. I had a moment like that with Roy last week.
Did you?
Yeah, or it was early this week. I'm sorry. It was actually
Harlan Williams.
Thank you, Harlan Williams. Yes. 7 Minute Abs.
Abs.
But anyway. Sorry. Oh, Me, Myself, and Irene. He was the cop that drank the beer.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, not Me, Myself, and Irene. Dumb and Dumber. It was Dumb and Dumber. My apologies. I got my Jim Carrey movie mixed up. It's Dumb and Dumber. But anyway, what was I talking about?
You were talking about a moment with Roy you had last week.
Oh, yes, with Roy. So
this is what happens when we get old.
Yeah, I know you get old, senile. So Roy and I were talking earlier in the week about something, and he's like, I got to do something here. And he was trying to remember a word for the type of the meeting, but he couldn't remember. He's like, he was like, a Congress? No, I got and I was like, I don't know. And then like 2 hours later, after I'm done talking, he's gone home and I've gone to, I get a text from Roy, consultation. And I'm like, that's it, Roy. Good job.
He is. He put the spurs to his brain. He got it.
So yeah, he had one of them moments, and I was like, and I just looked at it like, I've done that, so I know exactly how Roy's thinking right
I
there.
don't want to embarrass this person, so I won't tell you the story on the air, but I'll tell you off the air that happened last week with somebody. It was an on-air moment.
Oh,
it's happened to us 1,000 times.
Yeah,
but we get paid to do it, so it's not embarrassing for us. I'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
It's not that important. By the way, Camp Invention starts next week.
Yes, it does.
Yes, so it's still time to register. Invent.org or get a hold of Miss Peggy Bolin personally.
Yeah,
I believe it's 575-420-9955.
You nailed it.
Yep.
Or you can email her.
P-Bolin at pbolin2016@gmail.com, right?
That's it. And she spells it B-O-H-L-I-N.
Yep.
P-B-O-H-L-I-N.
It's the only reason I remember that is because I've done that so many times. I've read that form 1,000 times.
You've got a child that will be partaking
Indeed.
in camp this year. So,
yeah,
but
really
it's happening next week. It's going to be at All Saints Catholic School, invent.org. Like you said, you can sign up there, or if you need partial discount or any questions, contact directly there, Miss. Yes. Also, while we're asking for help here and getting people into things, the Gonzales Hope Center. This summer, they're putting together summer blessing bags for homeless, and they need donations so they can put these bags together. These bags are ideally designed to help homeless navigate through the summer heat. So it's items that would help them deal with some of that. So they're looking for donations of obviously bottled water that you consume right there, but also water bottles, empty water bottles, not the disposable,
right? The reusable bottles,
your plastic bottles with little squeeze tops and all that. Deodorant, sunscreen, lip balm with SPF in it, Band-Aids, feminine care products, mints, body wipes, little fans. I'm not going to do the joke again. Cooling towels, shampoo, shavers, socks, underwear, toothbrushes, toothpaste, non-perishable snacks, sun hats that, with brims for
bigger
the sun.
hats, yeah.
Yeah, umbrellas, sunglasses, things like that. If you go to Food Not Bomb's Facebook page, they have the flyer and a direct link to the Amazon registry if you'd like to just go to that registry and you can buy directly the stuff they need and have it sent right to them. That would be an amazing way to help out. Or you can pick those items up here at stores locally and drop them off to the Gonzales Hope Center to get that taken care of. If you have any questions about any of this, please don't hesitate to contact Jocelyn. You can reach her direct at 575-208-9509. Again, 575-208-9509. Okay, so if you also go to Facebook, the Gonzales Hope Center's Facebook or the Many Hands Facebook page, there you can learn more about what they do if you're not clear there.
Yep.
But you can also find the link for the Amazon registry at those pages as well too. So
yes, sir.
And I'm sure if you are friends with Geneva Martinez on Facebook, she's got all kinds of links to resources for that too. So if not, go be your friend. I'm sure she wants more friends.
Absolutely. Don't we all?
Don't we all? We can all use more
just want
friends.
a few more friends.
Absolutely. So that's a great way to help out, so they can make sure that these homeless, they do have means to cool
Absolutely.
off and take care of themselves.
If it's already
when the weather gets bad.
If it's already the way it is now, I mean, it's going to be sweltering this summer.
Next week's weather, we're 10 something almost every day next week. So yeah, so it's it's not technically officially summer yet. But don't tell Mother Nature.
I realize, and I don't mean to, but man, I turn into a cranky butthole when I'm hot. I just get cranky.
The older I get crankier about a lot of things. Heat, hungry, cold, patience.
See, I don't really get hangry anymore. Like I've known.
I will get hangry. I don't realize it. My wife and I both do. Because we start chirping at each other and we realize, we're probably hungry.
I mean, I've known hanger. It just doesn't really happen that much anymore.
Yeah. No, there's sometimes when we'll go and my wife or myself and we're just foul. It's like, then we eat, we're in bed. I don't even think we realize it. Sometimes
more often than it's just when I'm uncomfortable. Any kind of uncomfortable situation, I'm just like, I don't like this.
But my patience level's way low. Now, I just... and I think, and to be honest, I think that's all people as you get older. I mean, it's just you spend your whole life placating to people, and at some point you hit. It's like, at what point are you just going to figure this out? Right. You don't have patience anymore. And I think I'm hitting that point in my life where I have less and less of that. And I'm like, I need to be more patient. But this guy's an idiot.
I find myself more often having to explain the situation to myself. It's like, this is just a momentary situation. It's going to be fine. Get through it.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to? Me. Back up.
That's right. Trying to avoid going to jail right now.
I'm talking to me so I don't yell at you. I'm talking myself down, all right?
Yeah. I think it's just part of getting older. Oh, wait, there's more. Wait. Give it 10 years. You're going to be really angry about just stupid stuff at that point.
I have had that thought working with Mike over the years, because we started when Mike was, I think he was just a spry young 30-year-old.
Yeah.
And I was almost 21 when we first started in radio. So we've always had that like parallel of 10 years where it's like when Mike hit 40, I hit about 30, and I was experiencing those same things. And I'm about to hit 40 and Mike's now in his 50s. So it's like, it's kind of like it's watching your future.
That's right. I'm you 10 years.
Hey, honestly, it's looking good. I mean, things are looking up. I look good bald. I mean, happily married.
That's right.
A homeowner. It seems like things are looking up for me in 10 years.
Yeah. No, I'm a happy guy overall. I just realized this is the first time I wore these shorts and I forgot to pull one of the tags off. Sorry about that.
Inspected by number 34.
Nope. I was bragging that I'm a 32.
Ooh, a 32, right? Yeah, that's why you didn't take the tag off.
Flex. You went hats.
You went mini pearl on them. I got this on sale.
Actually, I did this because I bought like 3 pair of these shorts, and I pulled the tags off when I got them, but I didn't realize I had one on the pant, like on the clip, and then I noticed on the other 2, I walked around for half a day on the other ones, and I just was sitting here, I was like, oh man, I did.
I was going to ask you a question, but I already know the answer. Are you the kind of person who, when you find a thing that fits you or you like, that you go back to the store and get the whole rest of the rack of them?
Haven't you seen me come in to work every day?
That's why I said I know the answer. Mike likes cabbie hats. Now he has all of them.
Like, I have T-shirts. They're all non-logoed. They're all basically the same pattern. There's red ones, there's blue ones, there's gray ones, there's black ones. My shorts like these, I got these shorts because I liked them like 2 weeks ago, and now I've got like 4 pair of them. I got a black pair, a brown pair, a green pair, and a blue pair or something.
Because I already know the answer to that one. And actually, what led me down that path was the Utz pretzels.
Yes, this is me in life.
Or the Utz chips.
My whole life is that way.
Yeah.
I do that. I find something I like and I buy 60 of it, and then I look and it's I'm
rocket till the wheels fall
I'm a
off.
guy that wears that. My fashion sense is awful. I'm aware of this.
If nothing else, you're consistent.
Exactly. I'm a uniform guy. I wear a lot of sweatpants and shorts. I do own jeans and pants. I only wear them when I gotta do things that don't involve me sitting in this room for 3 hours. You know what I mean? It's like, if I'm just coming here, I don't know. I'm sure I can wear suits, and I have suits, but I work in radio. I do this. This is my uniform.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we hide half our body under a desk for most of the day. Hell, half the reason I got into radio in the first place was so nobody had to look at me.
Yeah,
and they put cameras in
and
here.
Everything. Yeah, that was first for me.
Stupid technology.
It took me a while to get used to cameras when they did the Artesia show. That was because that was different than this one. Like, we have a producer that makes, there's different camera angles and all that. Back when they started doing the video on the Artesia, it was literally like a GoPro kind of cam sitting in the corner, and it was on for the entire 3 hours. During commercial breaks, it's all me. So I'm like in between breaks eating donuts, picking my nose, just goofing off, various gestures and things that are on that camera. No audio, but me just doing this.
There was just a sign that this is the unseen corner.
Probably holding various things.
Any horrific things that need to happen in this room happen here in this corner.
I had a rubber chicken that made this god-awful noise in there, and I probably did some things on that thing that people I mean, I didn't. You know what I mean? It was chicken, various things.
The chicken did it.
Yeah, the chicken.
Sure, Mike, blame the victim.
The chicken. Wasn't me. The chicken.
It was the chicken.
All right, we're going to play our interview with John LeMay. I need to get that going because I just saw the time, and I better do that with all the ads and stuff. But John LeMay joined us yesterday talking about his latest book, which is right here. It's called New Mexico's Lost Worlds and Enchanted Lands.
That's a thin book.
Yeah, see, very thin. No, this is just
quick read.
This is the book. It's got 7 words on it. But no, it's so we talk about that, and he's going to be at Galacticon with his books and everything that weekend too. So we're going to play that interview here in just a bit. But first, let's get you up to date with the weather and take a quick commercial break. We'll be back on the other side.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today. We're headed for the mid-90s, a little bit breezy, and we should get sunshine. Overnight, a few clouds drifting through. We're in the mid-60s, and then we have a cold front moving through on Saturday. We could get a few showers or thunderstorms. Some of those storms could have hail and very gusty wind. Our high in the mid-90s. Back to sunshine on Sunday and right around 100. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
This is Chad Hamill, and I'm running to be your next senator for District 32. My opponent, Candy Azale, can't defend her 20-year record in the Santa Fe swamp, so she's attacking other people's families and kids on the radio. That's the difference in this race. Candy attacks other people's kids while I'm running to protect yours. And on my record, as a fire chief, I have seen the devastation of open borders. Fentanyl overdoses are out of control. As a small business owner here in the community, I know firsthand how politicians in Santa Fe have destroyed small businesses for our communities. As a previous school board member, I know local control has been ripped away from our schools. It is time for a change. The same old just isn't working. I will be your conservative voice in Santa Fe. Career politicians have gotten New Mexico into this mess, but as a firefighter, I've made my living running towards problems, and I'm ready to fix the problems. I humbly ask for your vote on June the 4th so we can put the fire out in Santa Fe. Paid for by Friends of Chad Hamill.
Hey, this is Jennifer from Trustmark Roofing. Every storm chaser's worst nightmare. You know storm chasers, those out-of-town roofers that descend on neighborhoods after big storms. They come in, do a crummy job, then poof, they're gone forever. Well, a few years ago, our area had a hailstorm, and right on cue, storm chasers showed up. I was driving home from work one evening and saw one talking to an elderly lady on her porch. I said, "Not today, buddy." I did a U-turn, pulled in the driveway, and walked right up to them. I warned the woman who they were talking to, and I chased away the storm chaser. The woman's daughter called me later and said a storm chaser ripped them off a few years ago. She thanked me for stopping this one and chose Trustmark for her roof. Trustmark Roofing. Every storm chaser's nightmare. Every homeowner's champion. Call today for your 20% off coupon for our spring and roof gutter maintenance service. 575-755-ROOF. Or visit TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put
People first.
When you're healthy, you can do amazing things. We're all about that. Because if you don't have access to health insurance through your work, or you just lost Medicaid, Be Well can connect you to the right health plan for you, your family, and your budget. We want to make your life a little easier, worry-free, and healthier. Because your health is everything. Be strong, be adventurous, and be amazing. Be Well. New Mexico's health insurance marketplace. Learn more at BeWellNM.com.
Hey everyone, this is Pat Boone and I'm running for New Mexico State Senate. I'm a straightforward guy, so instead of promising the moon, I'm going to tell you what I won't do. I, Pat Boone, won't say negative or underhanded things about my opponents to win this election. I won't bend to every idea to get your vote. I will be steadfast to my conservative ideals. I won't even send you a robocall because I know everybody hates them. I will ask you for your consideration. Pat Boone for New Mexico State Senate.
Paid for by Pat Boone, Mark McKay, Treasurer.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Bamboo plants can grow up to 36 inches in a day. So if you're told you're growing like a weed, you can say, "No, I'm growing like a bamboo." Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, John LeMay back with us. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Mike and Kim.
How are you doing today?
Doing good.
Yes, my chauffeur is here, so. To quote Sean. That's right. But, of course, for folks not familiar, John LeMay, of course, yeah, he's been on many times wearing his Historical Society hat and other things, but is, by day, he's a local author. And how many books have you written now, John?
I'm at about or over 50 now.
50 now. Yeah. Pretty good. And over how many years have you written those books?
Since I was 22, and I'm 38 now.
Okay, so about 15 years, give or take. Nice. So I'm very curious. What always, I don't think I've ever asked you, what drew you to writing and everything? I know you always kind of have a love for history and stuff, but what decided you say, I like writing and I want to publish books?
I liked to read when I was little, which was, I don't know if that was too unusual for my generation. We weren't quite as high on the internet.
Yeah, we didn't have as many bells and whistles as we do today.
So I liked to read when I was little. I liked books about Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, stuff like that. And then I liked a few novels, not too many. So I think I wanted to write novels, but history is so much easier to break into.
Sure.
So I just got into that, and then
and really the history of our region of New Mexico, and you've covered a lot in your books. It's different. It's history, but it's like growing up in Maryland and the East Coast in the D.C. area. You think history, and it's like Revolutionary War and Civil War and government and that kind of history, which is all amazing, and I love it.
Yeah.
But out here in New Mexico, it's Billy the Kid. It's the tales of the West, the Spanish conquistadors, the cowboys and the tall tales that come from it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a much different kind of history. You know what I mean? It's almost a history of. Do you mind answering that? No, man, it's a spam risk. I thought it was something. I thought it might have been my car.
Yeah.
It said spam
risk.
But that's the thing. The history here is it's really. About, it's all personal lives, but it's not about, at the end of the day, we're making a constitution or we're forming a nation. It's literally about people living in New Mexico, handling and living and dealing with their lives. And the stories of Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid and all the other characters of New Mexico lore, that's why those stories, it's almost, I don't know if entertaining is the right word, because that's not the right word, but it's almost more social.
Fantastical, too.
Yeah.
Adventurous.
It's like it's these adventures of this person who rode through the night to do this or did, whereas Revolutionary War, it's just different. It's they talked about some hill they took in a battle or something, and it's just a different, equally cool, but I don't know. Does it make sense what I'm saying? It's the history out here is more about the people than the events that took place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like when you get lost in the East Coast and like that kind of history, you get they tend to lean towards the dates and what happened here as opposed to who was here, and feel like New Mexico history, and particularly what you do through your books, you kind of put the face to the story a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So. to me, I imagine that's got to be a cool draw for you, like growing up here and growing up, with these tales of Billy the Kid and Pat Garrett and the ghost stories and all the things, the different topics we cover, and it's just different, because my history was, go up and it's like, oh, here's George Washington, here's, and it's just different, everyone knows who George Washington was. Had it not been for the Lincoln County Wars, probably none of us would know who Billy the Kid.
No,
you know what I mean? It's that's what's kind of cool about it. But anyway, so I before we talk about John's latest book, I highly invite you to check out one of John's other, like we said, about 50 other books at this point. That and not all of them are history, New Mexico history. I mean, yes, we got a bunch of those, but we've talked about your love of, like you're saying, Bigfoot and all that, Godzilla, and you've got books in that genre too, where it's more sci-fi and more outside of cowboys and ranching and stuff. But then you combine the worlds too, where you talk about some of the aliens and paranormal in Old West times and what they experienced and seen. And to me, those are fascinating because they didn't have terminology like we do today.
No.
Like they're describing things like missiles and saucers, but they don't have words like saucers and missiles to compare to because why would they know what a saucer or a missile is in the Wild West in the 1870s? And so, but they're describing it to a T. Yeah. And so to me, so you kind of cover it all from the history side to the science fiction-y side of things.
Yeah, cast a wide net.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I know if you go to Amazon, you can type in John LeMay and do all that. I will throw a shameless plug to our historical society. If you want to help out John and our historical society, I invite you to go to RoswellNMHistory.org. And not only can you see John's books, but if you want to get one of Donna Blake Burchell's books or one of our other local authors, I think there's a few Elvis Fleming books that we still have available.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so, by the way, John would know, he's our archive guy, too, at the Historical Society. So if it's in the building, generally, if John doesn't know, he knows someone who knows. But, so, the latest book that John has called New Mexico's Lost Worlds and Enchanted Lands. So what's give us a little bit of inspiration behind this book.
So this one is all about archaeological sacred sites, Pueblo ruins, things like that. Okay. Like the obvious one that comes to mind is Chaco Canyon. And I just put it in there because, you have to put Chaco Canyon in there. But I wanted to find the stuff that most people don't know about.
Okay.
And
it's like we all know that these are sites and things, but what took place there? What are they finding?
Yeah.
What as multiple generations of people did things on the same land, as you dig deeper, you see evidence of that.
Yeah, well, and like for instance, there's a lot of folklore in it. Like we all know White Sands, but not many people know the story that, and this is just a folk tale. There's no evidence for it. But
Gotcha.
the story is there was a Pueblo on White Sands long, long ago, or actually the Pueblo was there before the Sands.
Okay.
And the story is their shaman had like a vision of the Spanish conquistadors coming. So he did some sort of ritual or ceremony that caused this white sand to fall from the sky and conceal their Pueblo.
Ah.
And that's like the legend of White Sands. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, that'll cut into one of the natural wonders history there a little bit.
Yeah. But then some of them, are totally factual.
Sure.
And
these are probably stories that they told their kids. You know what I mean? It's like, why are the White Sands white, Dad or Mom?
Yeah.
And these are the stories they told their
And
family.
they just haven't really survived into the 21st century.
Sure. Because science comes in and change. That's, it's, you look at history, and a lot of times when things were chalked up as sorcery, witchcraft, it's just lack of knowledge. And then years later, it's like, oh, it's because the environment did this and the pressure caused this, and that's why it did this.
Yeah.
So. So as mankind evolves to get smarter in science and stuff, we tend to be able to debunk some of the things that were perceived as magic or higher power in some
Well, so here's an instance of just the opposite. So like the cover story of the book, this is called Catzimo Mesa. It's
okay.
Yeah, so most people know Acoma Mesa at least, which is about 60 miles west of Albuquerque. It's the mesa, or it's the Pueblo that's literally built on top of a mesa, so it's pretty unique. But so the Acomans claim that before they lived on that mesa, they lived on another mesa nearby that was even steeper and higher.
Okay.
And the academics of the time, which was like the late 1800s, they would scoff at it, and they said, well, that's just a fairy tale. There's no way they were on this, this even higher mesa that has no access to it.
Just a physical impossibility.
Yes.
They do it, yeah.
But their story was that they lived there, and there was this terrible storm that caused they had kind of like an ascent up the plateau, and it got weathered off during a storm.
So the terrain was different at the time they lived there.
Yeah. So the scientists, though, they would all scoff at it. And this one, he was so excited to disprove it that he was the first Anglo man to actually climb the mesa, which he did, I think, in 1897. And when he got to the top, he claimed he saw nothing there. So he was right. But then there was another scientist, one of his competitors, and he just didn't believe him. He thought, I'm going to go double check. So when he climbed the mesa for the second time, he actually found arrowheads, pottery shards, all these signs of habitation. No structures necessarily, but he found signs of that
human existence.
They had been up there. And so you could argue that this first scientist, he didn't want to be wrong.
Sure.
So
that's the thing with science.
Yeah.
When scientists truly do science, they're supposed to go in with wherever the evidence takes them. But when you're trying to create a theory and then have the evidence fit the narrative of your theory, that's when the science gets catty.
Yeah.
And go watch a whole documentary about some court case dealing with DNA evidence and stuff. You'll learn all about that kind of stuff, how they're trying to steer the evidence this way. But it's kind of you're seeing obviously an earlier version of that same thing. He was convinced he was dealing with the politics that it's impossible that people were here. Therefore, when he went up there, either he saw it and said, "Oh, this is not good. I'm going to lie," or he literally didn't look. He just said, "Oh, yep, see nothing up here. Come back down."
Yeah,
it's kind of
and he probably just assumed no one else would make the effort that he made to get up there.
So, but that's the when we talk real science, that's the problem. Is real science. You go and follow the evidence wherever it leads you, and whatever the conclusion is, the conclusion is. If you come in with a preconceived notion and try to fit the science to your narrative, that's when the science gets cattywampus.
Yep.
That's just a life lesson, folks, to learn. You should know that whenever they try to talk science with you. But anyway, I got sidetracked. So this one's really kind of, you may know some of the places and things, and you may know the tent pole or one thing that took place there, but you're like, there's a lot more too. There's a few layers to this cake if you dig down in here a little bit. So check that. So that's a cool. Now again, this latest one's called New Mexico's Lost Worlds and Enchanted Lands, and I know it's available right now through the Historical Society, through Amazon. John will be at Galacticon this year, all 3 days. He was smart enough to take advantage of Elaine's air conditioning, and so I will be inside there signing books and selling books. So, and I imagine you're going to have not only this book, but probably some of your others as well, too.
Yeah, I don't try to take all of them anymore because people think I'm a book dealer. They don't realize I'm the author.
Sure. You think you're just selling books.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I wrote all these. I'm that guy that's the same name on all the books there, But obviously, because it's Galacticon, if you want to learn more about the science fiction side of John's books and things, the Godzilla and that stuff, obviously all that will be there because it's Galacticon. But don't turn on the history side because there's in some of his books, there's as much science fiction or science-y type aliens and stuff and lore that's part of the books that's very much falls in the. I mean, think about it. Even just the stories you're talking about in this book about the how the White Sands. That's all part of what the Galacticon is. So don't forget about the history books and stuff.
Well, the more wild one is Pecos Pueblo, kind of south of Santa Fe. They claim they used to keep a giant rattlesnake in a cave.
Yeah,
that they they made human sacrifices to.
Oh wow!
And then they had like an eternal flame that they claimed could grant you immortality.
Oh wow! That's impressive.
And I mean, people really believed in all those things, because they would have people who claimed that they saw the real inspiration for the eternal flame, which was just a fire they constantly kept burning.
Sure. Well, there were things like peyote just laying around that people picked up from time to time and start seeing spirit worlds and sees the size of that chicken and all the other stuff we talk about. But but to me, this is also getting back to that history thing I want to talk because and I think I figured it out a little bit when I was talking about earlier, like the history in D.C. and all that. You know, it's kind of like it's here. We know it. On this date in 1776, they signed this or whatever. Whereas a lot of this history is told third hand through, and so some of the details are spot on. Others are artistic license from whoever, you know, was telling the story. And and as the story gets told, and it's the game of what's that? One where you tell a sentence at the beginning and then a daisy chain, or whatever they call that game, where you whisper into the ear, and then by the time you get to the end, the story telephone. There you go. It's history here is a little like a game of telephone.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, stuff that's been chronicled in written form and all that, and photos or you know, that's. But a lot of it is stories passed from generation to generation, family to family, and it gets a little muddy in the details.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, there's probably a fabric of truth in the very beginning of it, and then you know, then the dragons and wizards and stuff got, you know, stacked on as time went on, kind of thing.
And then there's a lot of assumptions made about why this or that happened. And a good example is Gran Quivira, which is kind of at the westernmost end of Lincoln County, around Torrance County. It's just a really nice Pueblo ruin, and because it's so close to the lava flows of Carrizozo, they assumed it was deserted because the volcano erupted. But the volcano, you know, erupted before that Pueblo was even built. But they had all these fantastic legends. They would kind of make it like Gran Quivira was our Atlantis, and all of the volcanic eruption drove them away.
And I'm going to guess some of this stuff was created by the people themselves to discourage people from paying a visit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Part of that's something, because granted, let's face it, it's the Wild West.
Yeah.
And we all know that was a time where, you know, you want the land, you come take the land. You know? That was that time we lived in, you know? That was just the way it is. And so I'm guessing some of this came from that. You know what I mean? And, you know, discouraging from settlers or people to come and take in land. And so, we got a boogeyman. We got a big rattlesnake in a cave.
Yeah.
That, you know,
exactly.
You know, that's how this stuff starts, you know. Yeah. So if you love that kind of stuff, then this book is probably going to be right in your wheelhouse, and you get to hear. And I love these kind of, you know, the hidden history, and that's the stuff you don't really get just doing a Google search or watching a movie sometimes. You know, you get, and it's like, it's like, you know, it's like, I love the Civil War. I love studying the Civil War, but I love hearing more stories about two soldiers that had a thing in a situation happen in camp. To me, I'm way more enthused than General Lee marched here from this date to this time and all that. I'm like, why is there a 9-year-old drummer boy? That's an amazing story. I want to hear that. You know, and that's and a lot of this evokes from that.
I try not to beat the same dead horses best I can. So I try to find stuff that other people have forgotten about or don't write about anymore.
Yeah. So check this book out, and I really think if this is your first time getting exposed to John LeMay's works here, you're in for a treat, because you get here now. You can get into the deep dive of all his Pat Garrett, Billy the Kid stuff. The when I was kind of promoting the aliens and the cowboys stuff here, the Godzilla series of books that he's done here, all of that. Like I'm saying, he kind of covers all the wheelhouses and just different, but it's all cool, just factoidy, just, you know, and most of 90% of his books are your own backyard, you know, things that happen here in southeast New Mexico or other parts of New Mexico. Stuff that you could drive to and go see for yourself in some cases, or see where it was, you know. And so to me, that adds a layer of coolness to it. That when you're reading about a book and the story, and you're like, hey, let's go spend the weekend and go to Chaco Canyon or go to one of these places and see if we can find some of this. Or let's spend a weekend in Fort Sumner and see if we can see some of this, the stuff that we were reading about.
Well, like something in here about Fort Sumner is they have a petrified forest along the river, but it's on private land, so it's not something you can see.
Accessible to
but
many
people.
But
that's what I mean by lost world. You know, it's just something that's been forgotten and nobody really knows about it.
Yeah. It's kind of like to me, this almost gets reminiscent of like your apocalyptic stories. Although this is all true and everything, but
apocryphal or apocalyptic?
Apocalyptic, kind of like you go and you see these like Mad Max type movies, and then you see like a Bob's Big Boy in the middle of the desert, and you're like, why is that here now? And so to me, this is almost like New Mexico's versions of Bob's Big Boy in the desert. Sure. Why is Bob's Big Boy sitting in the middle of the desert, you know, kind of thing. And so if you love that kind of stuff, these books are this book and many of his other books.
Well, and it's not a very big book either. It's only 180 pages.
Right. It's like 2 or 3 bathrooms.
You don't have to read it in order. You can like find the chapters you're interested in, and you know.
Exactly. And you can go back and reference it. Usually like you're saying, that story, and you, because that's what happens is you tell, and then you go back and you're talking at your friends or your family. Like, do you know Choco Cane? And then if you need to reference it, see, it's right here. So, but please check out your books. Now, if you go on Amazon, you just type in John LeMay, author kind of thing, and pretty much all your books show up on the list there.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, and like I said, there's about 50 of them, so you got quite a few you got some time to spend if you're just now getting into John LeMay's library of books that he's written.
And like Mike said, that's if you don't live here. If you do live here, please support the Historical Society or Hangar 209 because they stock my books too. And
Excellent.
I wanted to give them some
great.
support
Well, thank
as
you
well.
to them for doing that. Absolutely. It's great that local community support and local. And you know as well as I do, we at the Historical Society, we're all about the community and doing everything and everybody working together to make things happen in our community. So yes, and by the way, when you do buy a book, whether it's John's book or Donna's book or any of the books that we sell to the Historical Society, the Historical Society does get a piece of that to keep the roof from leaking and keeping the foundation from cracking and keeping the grass from turning brown and keeping the windows from, or keep, when people, because it is a part of the time where people break in and do things from time to time and we have to deal with security and other issues. So by you reading these amazing stories, you are helping us preserve history through the historical system.
Yep.
Which, by the way, if you want to, maybe you're an aspiring John LeMay. Maybe you're thinking, I want to write books like this, like John does. John's got a lot of, he walks around and got a lot of, like he's a hero. He just wear a cape, but he's got a lot of fans. But anyway, and he's dreamy. But anyway, he gets embarrassed when I do that. I do it. Does people say this to you around town and they hear me talking like that on the radio? Has anybody ever called you dreamy or did stuff? Yeah. Good, it's working. But please understand that that's what our archives facility is at the Historical Society. Yes, we keep it there for preservation and for generations to see later, but it is a library in and of itself. When people like John or other outside entities, even when we get those alien documentarian people coming in and all, a lot of times they're coming to the Historical Society looking for photographs, looking for books, references, resources to support or to help the documentary or book or whatever they're trying to put together. I'd say almost every month we have our meeting, John has 1 or 2 reports of a phone call or an email of someone reaching out saying they're looking for information for a book they're writing or a documentary series they're working on. And sometimes it's as big as your discoveries and your tentpole national franchises that are requested and stuff. So that's what's there. But it's in your backyard too. So and I'm going to do a plug for volunteers. If you want to spend a lot of time in the archives, come volunteer. Come work. And
thank you. I wanted to say that too because I'll show how to do things because we've got too much to do.
That's just it. We got literally a bunch of stuff, and there's more stuff coming in, and it's fun, but it's a real tough challenge because there's only so much space, and and by nature we're pack rats. We want to keep it all in the that it might be, but at some point you're like we don't need 37 shoe baseball caps.
No,
you know what I mean? And that's. So we're kind of in that point where we've got to prioritize, we've got to categorize, we've got to determine what truly needs to be a part of the archives and what maybe should go somewhere else. Not saying throw it away, just saying go somewhere else. And so we need volunteers to do that. And plus, we need some technological computer types because we're also in the process of getting digital records and recordings and archiving of some of the periodicals and things like that. Things that, paper at some point we might lose because that's what the environment does it. And so at least, whenever it does go away permanent, there's a digital, so someone can see it even 300 years from now when the book's no longer readable or holdable, anything like that. So So we need volunteers to kind of keep, and it's a lot of fun because every time you go and do it, it's kind of like a Easter egg hunt or a episode of the movie National Treasure where you get to walk around and see all these cool things. And it's just the history of life. It's everything from people's gadgets for their kitchens that are no longer there to books and periodicals, to clothing, to firearms and instruments. It's really just time capsules of how people lived here in their moments of their time on Earth here with us. You know? And it really is a trip down that to see that. So if you love that kind of stuff and love to get a little more involved and want to get your hands dirty in this, who knows? Maybe you're a young man or woman out there that wants to be an archaeologist or a historian or get into that field. Have some fun and dig through the books and annals of the Historical Society and help us get it to where it's ready for the next generation.
Yeah. So. Something fun you can do is dig through collections that need to be actually archived.
Okay.
And just look at them, and all you have to do is say, oh, this is connected to this. This is the such and such collection. Because that's kind of what we're getting a backlog of, is stuff that needs to be, somebody needs to look at it and see what this really is. Then it's not complicated. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be.
It's just tedious.
You don't have to be a genius to figure out, oh, this is the notes of this ex-Roswell lawyer.
Yeah.
These are all his notes. Okay, I'm going to write that down. That's what this collection is. It's done.
But how much fun is it for certain types of people?
Yeah.
To get to look through that and see that and see it and wow. Imagine what was going on at the time this was.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, at our board meeting the other night, one of our great local antique shops here came across a Roswell Symphony Orchestra record from the 60s, I believe. And it's an amazing piece of history. It's in great shape, but it's got the music and the names of people that were in the RSO at the time. And to me, that is a perfect example of why the Historical Society is here, is for things like that, you know. And so you kind of get a treat like that every week at the Historical Society, where people come in and thank you to the public that always, you know, and usually it's like someone passes away in the family or something, and there's some heirlooms or things that were sitting in a closet or in an attic somewhere, and they know it's of value, but they have no use for it, so they call us, and we're very thankful that sometimes we're kind of like, we got like 37 copies of that book already, but we are so thankful that folks take the time to say, hey, maybe this is important before we discard it or do something else to it, you know. So please keep doing that, and please don't be discouraged if we say we already have enough of those or we don't have room for that. It's nothing personal. It's we are at a point where we have so much stuff that we're like, all right, do we need to keep a blender from the 30s?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Or should that go to somewhere else? Maybe someone else can have a home for that, or a museum that does things for blenders or small appliances or something. I don't know. But you know what I mean? That's what we're kind of determining. And you know, sure, we'd love to hold it all, but you know, there's only so much room in the archives facility. But that's a great way. RoswellNMHistory.org is our website there. You can get all of John's books there. If you're here locally, it's a great way to support the Historical Society and John at the same time here. Please make plans if you're out and about during UFO Festival weekend to swing on by the Convention Center in Galacticon. Yeah. John and many others will have their booths out there for you to come check out. John, he'll be the book guy. He'll have all of you know, some of his local, some of his science fiction books, some of his local history books, all there available for you. And if you want to pick brains and talk shop with him, that's a great
I literally can't get away from you.
Yeah. So, but a lot of people like, and this is because I imagine you get a lot of folks at times like this that maybe grew up in some of these places that you write about, and they want to share their own personal stories or their own personal encounters that either jive with your book or maybe contrast to some of what they have in the book.
Yeah, and so, it is kind of like a book fair for local authors, because almost all of them are there, like Edie and EJ and different people.
Yeah,
you know,
if
they
want to
also
meet the who's who of local authors, absolutely too. And are you going to have any like Donna or any special guests?
No,
hanging out
I don't
your
think
table
Donna
this
can
time?
make it this year, unfortunately.
She's busy doing other things. She's the I jokingly call her the John LeMay of Eddy County. And, between the two, they've got Southeast New Mexico covered when in terms of history. They're both great people and great.
Yeah, I actually dedicated this book to her Bronco.
Oh yeah,
she named her Bronco Sue, so I dedicated it to her vehicle instead of to a person.
Sue got
because it took us to a lot of these.
I was about
sites,
to say,
so,
I think Sue's the reason why you got to see me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
cool. Was she kind of because she loves to explore and stuff. Is she kind of serve as a Sherpa with you a little bit, or is she kind of going in as kind of learning as you are?
No, she's more outgoing than I am.
Okay.
I'm pretty content to sit around, but she likes to go to these places,
John likes
and
to
I
sit there
go
and
with
look
her.
pretty. I get it. But yeah, I get what you're saying. She's a John's he'll sit and listen, and then you know what I mean. Where Donna, she's more, hey, how you doing? Put the hand on you. John's kind of like, I'll be happy to talk to you, but put your hand out first. Or Donna, she'll be up in your grill, saying, hey, what's up? So. But that's a cool. But it trust me, it's cool. But here's the thing: once you get John talking, especially on one of his stories, and then you're gonna have to shut him down. But but that's but to me, I think that's where your passion comes from. So what drew you to history? I know I'm going all over the place, but like, did you grow up as a kid? Just like, was your parents exposing you to different locations and things, or like, how did you stumble upon being interested, or is it just the world of books and you kept reading things like this is cool to me?
I think it was the world of books, and then I was wanting to write a novel that used all our area lore, and so I researched that for the novel, and it was really interesting.
Like for me, I always say, I read books and did that too, but I think by default where I lived kind of put me in that. Like I grew up in a place where, like Dr. Samuel Mudd's house, the man that was part of John Wilkes Booth's leg during the assassination of Lincoln. He went to prison and for it, and it was a whole thing. But his house was literally 5 minutes from where I grew up, and I went and so I lived in a world where history was at a stone's throw. Everything and it was something big. Like I'm sorry, especially you get into certain parts of Virginia and Southern Maryland, you can't throw a rock without hitting like a historic marker saying George Washington did something here, or John Hancock did something here, or just stuff like it's so much of it that I think people that live in the area almost take it for granted. Yeah, like the people that live in D.C., Maryland area don't appreciate the fact that they have what they have in their backyard. I was different. I embraced it. When as a kid through Boy Scouts and everything else, I went to Gettysburg and saw the Gettysburg battlefield. I went to D.C. 100 times. I've been in and out of those museums a bunch. Going to Mount Vernon. I've been to Mount Vernon 2, 3, 4 times. I mean, I've just seen, Valley Forge. It's all right. Yeah, hours away, and so. So I think by default, because I'm just around it so much, I got fascinated by it. In the Civil War, doing these hikes around with the Boy Scouts, and I'm hearing these stories of the brother fought over here, and by the way, his brother was in the 1st Massachusetts over on this side, and the other brother was in the 27th Virginia down here, and to me that fascinated me. So, that's kind of what for me. So I was just curious, for you did your parents take you to places a lot to see these kind of things?
Just Carlsbad Caverns and White Sands and cool stuff that's nearby.
I didn't know if they just by osmosis, you get exposed to enough. For me, that's how it did. Yeah. Like I go to Virginia, and I don't know if it's a crepe. There's a certain flower that's at a lot of Virginia historic sites, like Mount Vernon and there. Yeah. And it's very common. And when you hit certain times of year, I hit that smell, and it instantly makes me think of like historic Jamestown or Williamsburg or anything, because it's just that smell and it evokes a certain memory there. So, but anyway, that's how I grew up. So, taking it off about me, back to John here. Get his books through our Historical Society's website, roswellmhistory.org. You can certainly pick them up at the convention center here during Galacticon.
And Amy said to say this is a great Father's Day gift.
You know what? Dad's Day right around the corner. Dad would love this. And if Dad doesn't want this particular book, there's a lot of other cool books I think Dad will be into that John and other authors have written, or maybe he's a Peter Hurd print fan. We've got
that too.
Stuff, and all of that supporting the Historical Society by doing that. So please don't hesitate to shop there. Shop early, shop often. So I don't know yet, Casey. That was a technical question. And then do you and of course. Do you have like a website with your books and stuff if people want to go, or just reach out to Facebook? Or
Yeah, so I did start one just for the history titles,
Okay.
bicepbooks.com.
Okay. So they can go there and look it up. But you know what? John LeMay's on Facebook. Shoot out, read some message to him if you have any questions.
Just Amazon. The only problem with Amazon is you'll get all my books and it'll be like stuff you may not be interested in.
Well, if you've never seen them, that's
Yeah.
a good way to get exposed to all of it and get to pick and choose. Because there might be things that John wrote about that you didn't think John would write about that you'd be into, and you just didn't think that's where you go to get it. You're looking elsewhere for it. So, good deal. Did we get anything we missed, John? Did we get it all?
No, I think that's about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. As always, we'll see it. And by the way, he was my chauffeur the other night.
Yeah.
He got me here too. So
That's how I got this spot. Is he said,
That's right.
If I give you a ride home, I'll let you have the.
It's like, can I
the
ride
9
you
o'clock.
Thursday? Only if you give me a ride home. No, I'm just kidding. This was pre-booked. All right, it is 9:56. Quick break before we end the show. Don't go away.
Away from our schools. It is time for a change. The same old just isn't working. I will be your conservative voice in Santa Fe. Career politicians have gotten New Mexico into this mess, but as a firefighter, I've made my living running towards problems, and I'm ready to fix the problems. I humbly ask for your vote on June the 4th so we can put the fire out in Santa Fe. Paid for by Friends of Chad Hamble.
Roswell's home for talk radio is 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. We are about to hear from former President Trump, and White House correspondent Greg Clugston is in New York.
The former president will make public statements at Trump Tower following yesterday's unanimous guilty verdict by 12 jurors in his criminal trial. He already expressed his feelings when he left the courtroom.
We will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over.
Trump maintained that he's a very innocent man and rallied supporters in online fundraising appeals last night with the vow to never surrender. Greg Clugston, New York.
While he has been convicted of all 34 felony counts, Mr. Trump says the ultimate verdict has yet to be delivered.
The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
And it doesn't seem that this verdict will change many minds among Trump supporters and detractors.
I hope this turns the tide and more people realize that he should not be allowed to be president again.
I have real reservations on voting for a convicted felon, but I don't believe he's a convicted felon. I believe it'll be overturned. I believe the charges brought against him were misdemeanors and should have been pursued as such, but was not. And there's nothing I can do about that. But of the choices I have available to me, he will be my vote.
The Biden team saying the guilty verdict proves that no one is above the law. Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia exiting the Democrat Party, registering as an independent. Manchin says both parties are leaving their constituents behind for partisan extremism while jeopardizing our democracy. The Texas Supreme Court rejecting a challenge to an abortion ban. The challenge brought by women who say their health was put at risk during their pregnancies. On Wall Street, stocks are mixed. The Dow is up 46 points, while the Nasdaq 162 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of it.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
was created as a hobby by a Seattle man.
Wordle became popular in 2022, and the New York Times acquired the word game for a 7-figure sum. One of its millions of players was Corey McDonald, a software developer in Seattle who was inspired to set up Wordle in his spare time. Mr. McDonald says that while the name is no coincidence, there are many other similar-sounding games out there, such as Hurdle, Nerdle and Quaddle. But the New York Times is opposing his attempt to register Wordle. He says he'll fight the legal opposition and hopes it could set a precedent for others in future.
That's a BBC's Zoe Kleinman. The French Interior Minister says French authorities in New Caledonia regained full control of the Pacific Territory's capital after 2 weeks of unrest left 7 people dead. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Another of those anti-Israel encampments is no more.
This time at Wayne State University in Detroit, just 2 days after the school suspended in-person classes and encouraged staff to work remotely. Television footage showed campus and Detroit police in riot gear tearing down fencing early Thursday. At least a dozen people were arrested. President Kimberly Andrews, SB, says the camp posed health and safety issues. Meanwhile, more than 100 graduates walked out of a commencement ceremony Thursday at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology near Boston. Rhonda Rockstra reporting.
The Labor Department accusing Hyundai and 2 other companies with plants in Alabama of violating child labor laws. A complaint filed this week follows an investigation by the department's Wage and Hour Division. It claims to have found a 13-year-old working on an assembly line in a plant that manufactures auto body parts. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to our number
Tracing Uranus
of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Friday.
Yes.
You made it. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
The weekend is upon us.
It's not going to feel as weekendy as last weekend.
Well, it's not free.
Yeah, last weekend was like all the weekend.
And
this
is don't care about weekends anymore.
Yeah.
Every day's a weekend.
Every day's
them.
Well, every day's a weekend for them, with the exception of the fact that mom and dad can't take them to do fun stuff when they got to work.
Yeah. But back in our day.
Oh, yeah.
That was turn you loose, 8 a.m., get out the door, see you when the street light comes on.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it was when we had slippers as kids. But I don't think that's the case.
No, it's tough out there for moms and dads. You can't just send them out. There's like, predators and stuff.
And we had them too. They just told us don't get in them. Remember? They're like, don't get the guy with the van, don't get in it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it was more like if you get abducted, that's on you, kid.
You shouldn't do that.
It really does seem like PSAs in the 80s were like, that thing that all the kids are doing? Don't.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
You probably shouldn't do that. You're right.
I mean, it's
you got me there.
The world we live in. But happy Friday.
You didn't think about things happening on like international levels or like across state or country lines.
We didn't have internet to know about that stuff.
It's true.
If you want to know what happened outside your town, you turned into the 5 o'clock news or picked up the newspaper.
There it is. You know what the internet was for us? We bit that apple.
Yeah.
It was the knowledge of good and evil. Now we can't justify releasing our hounds, our kids.
There you go. It's sometimes more is less.
Ignorance is bliss. I've lived my life by that that mantra.
Kind of like The Matrix with Joey Pantalone's character, where he in the first Matrix, where he's like, well,
living it up,
doing
those steak
he knows,
and lobster.
and he's like, well, I don't, ignorance is bliss. And so,
Joey Pants.
Yeah.
Although I do every now and again just check the back of my head just to make sure.
See if there's not a hookup back there. It's like it's only when like certain things taste like chicken. That's when you check. You're like, why is this rice tasting like chicken?
Something's going on. Something's wrong here.
But if that's the case, then I want to learn karate in like 10 minutes or whatever. You know how that's the part you're like, wait a minute, plug me in and I'm going to learn Spanish. Yeah,
right. Yeah, you'd think here in the Matrix things would be easier to learn. You just program
that's
it
how
in.
they did it in the movie. Remember, he's like, I know Taekwondo now. You're like, cool.
Yeah. There's that tech in this simulation.
Yeah, I mean, with that part, I'll take it for that part, maybe, So
I feel like if we were in a simulation that the creators, the writers of this story that we're in right now, they wrote themselves into a corner. They don't really know what to do now. So it's
and that's the problem with the Matrix franchise, in my opinion. The first movie was not designed to be a series.
Right.
It was a one-off that turned into a mega hit, and they said, oh, maybe we should try to milk this cow for some more stuff. And then the Matrix other movies came out.
Yeah, once they had to build lore around it, because the Matrix itself, the original Matrix, wasn't meant to be a sci-fi thriller or movie. You know what it was meant to be? An allegory. A lot of people don't know this, but the Wachowski brothers at the time were wrote a movie that was an allegory to how they feel trapped in a world that's not the gender that they feel comfortable in. Because now the Wachowski brothers are the Wachowski sisters.
That's true. With that part I knew.
So it's a big allegory. And then it got turned on its ear, and sci-fi nerds got a hold of it, and they're like, well, now it needs lore.
Well,
and so they built a whole universe around it.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because the first movie, is he the one? He's the one. He's the one. Oh, he's the one. Good night, everybody. And now he's like, well, not the one.
Turns out there were a lot of
He's like the one, but there's other ones, and there's the one for the moment.
Yeah, why did you work so hard to go after that one if there were other ones?
But then they hit you with the one that came out like a couple years ago, and it's like, well, he's the one, but the one of a different one.
That was such a weird movie, man.
I liked it. I actually liked the most recent one. I liked it better than 2 and 3.
It was fun to for sure.
Yeah,
it was fun to watch. Neil Patrick Harris's character was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
but it was a fun watch. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to take Neil Patrick Harris is sinister. Even when he's trying to be sinister, you're just like, Doogie, stop.
That's in PH. You can't mess around with the Doog.
Or I'm like, or his character from How I Met Your Mother, which is the complete. It's always funny. Or Harold and Kumar, for that matter.
See, it's like Talladega Nights. I like to think about my Neil Patrick Harris as Harold and Kumar, Neil Patrick Harris.
Right.
He's just Xing his brains out and just looking for a good time.
But like even Starship Troopers, Neil Patrick Harris, I have trouble buying.
Really?
I do.
I feel like that was. I mean, he leaned enough into the character that I
still saw Doogie. I'm like, no, he's not really. Because even then, he looks like he's like a colonel, but they make him older looking, and so it just didn't fit to me. Like everyone else is, Marine type.
It's sort of like if you saw Dustin Diamond pop up in a movie, you're like, that's Screech. You've sort of like branded. The one person who's done a great job of like eliminating that from his character or persona is Daniel Radcliffe. And it took a long time and a lot of hard work for people to separate him from Harry Potter. But now I tend to more think about him as like Weird Al or like the character that he played in that weird movie where he was the farting zombie.
And to be honest, I'm sure he's made so much money off the Harry Potter movies, he doesn't have to work anymore.
Of course.
So my next question is, does he pick his roles based on solely what he wants to do?
I would assume he does passion projects.
Because like you said, yes, most of his works are like low budget things that they're not tentpole franchises. You know, like even like him and Buscemi and a couple other people have that little comedy group that does that TV series that comes out pretty much every summer on TBS.
With like a different iteration of
I haven't heard advertisements for a new one this year, but they usually do a different one. And of course, like you said, the movies you mentioned, The Weird and some of the other movies are not exactly blockbuster $100 million movies.
You got to imagine he got a pretty solid payday for Weird. I mean, as star-studded as that cast was,
I'm guessing everyone did that for scale.
You think?
I'm thinking that was one of their charity projects. Then they all sign on to do it. I don't think anybody got paid.
It's like, well, it could be like one of those situations where, like in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and then you have the buddy or the project that you agreed to because you're friends in the business, and they look at the camera. So it could be one of those where, they were
based off the way it was marketed and everything. I can't imagine they spent a lot of money making that movie because they would have tried harder than temp pulling on Roku. Like I know it's Roku's kind of platform movie, and that's the movie they get you to say, "Hey, come check out Roku," or whatever it came out of. I can't remember which one.
So it was like a loss leader, as they call
it. I'm thinking it's something like that. And I think everyone in that movie, because of the reason you said, it's like there's literally the who's who of the music industry and this and that. I think everybody did it for scale, and I think Radcliffe probably got paid some, but not a whole lot. I think he did it more for the acting credit.
Yeah.
For to say he maybe he's a huge Weird Al fan. I don't know.
Oh, I guarantee he's a huge Weird Al fan. But that's something I'd be curious to learn how much money was actually behind that.
And what's that other movie? There's another movie he did. Oh, and I never saw it, but it's kind of a goofy movie.
The zombie movie where he's the farting zombie.
There's that one, but there's like another one too where the Frankenstein one. There was one where he's the young not young Frank. It's something Frankenstein. He also did that movie. That was sort of a blockbuster, but it was a monstrous flop, if I remember.
What is that called?
Do you remember the movie I'm talking about?
I'm trying to.
And I feel like it came
Let's
out.
Let's just pull up his IMDb.
Maybe within 2 years of the Harry Potter wrapping up.
Tell you what, give us the rundown, and I'll do some research.
Yeah, let me do the rundown here. We'll get you up to date with the weather.
Swiss Army Man's the name of that movie, by the way.
Swiss Army Man, yeah, that's the movie I'm thinking of. That's a uniquely weird movie, low budget, but that's not the Frankenstein movie.
No, that's why I'm trying to pull up the action.
But anyway, we'll get you up to date with the weather here in just a bit. We're going to play our interview we had with Bob Lavarakis with First Baptist Church Roswell, talking about their Sunday school, their Vacation Bible School. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Vacation Bible School coming up, and just talk a little religion with them too as well. So we'll play that interview for you here in just a bit. We'll also get you up to date with the news and all that good stuff too.
Indeed. So Miracle Workers is the name of that series.
Yeah, the series Miracle Workers. Thank you.
Let's see.
It's something Frankenstein.
Escape from Pretoria, Guns Akimbo, Beast of Burden. Wow, I've never even heard of that, but that looks interesting.
I think it was a Rolling Stones song when you said Beast of Burden.
I'm not seeing anything that's that way. Imperium, Now You See Me Too. Oh, here you go. Victor Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. That's it.
Look at that.
That's the movie.
Has a 5.9.
That was the movie. I think like that one they tried to market and make it just
tanked.
Yeah, I think it was. But I think they tried to blockbuster that one.
Told from Igor's perspective, we see the troubled young assistant's dark origins, his redemptive friendship with the young medical student who made the monster.
Yes. That's the one. I never saw it.
Available on Max.
Yeah. I'm sure it is.
There you go.
I got to watch Dune 2. It's on Max now.
No, you don't.
Have you seen it?
No.
I saw the first one.
No. I have no desire. This is me. I just have no desire.
Well, and I hate Dune. Like the first Dunes, I've yet to get through. I've tried watching it 2 or 3 times in my life, and every time, I said, you know what? After talking with Roy, and Roy kind of convinced me. So, you know what? I'll give the next Dune a glance.
A gander.
So I watched the first new Dune, and it was
that's sort of how I felt about it. Like, I powered through it because, a girl that I was with at the time wanted to watch it. So I powered through it. But
it interests me enough to know. I'm curious to see how the story ends. I never got to see how the story ends in the first Dune because I can't get to that point. It's like the very first Star Trek movie. Still have never seen the end of that movie because I can't get to it. But it's so bad. But so I maybe this weekend I will maybe tonight or tomorrow night sit down and watch Dune 2. Although it took me like 4 settings to watch the last Dune. Because it's like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah,
I'm sure this one's probably another 3 hours.
And that's the thing. It's a long watch, but it's also one you got to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I watched it in 3 settings.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, it's getting blurry. I'm out.
Well, good luck and Godspeed.
That's right. Good luck. We're all counting on you. All right, it is 9:18. Here is your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today. We're headed for the mid-90s, a little bit breezy, and we should get sunshine. Overnight, a few clouds drifting through. We're in the mid-60s, and then we have a cold front moving through on Saturday. We could get a few showers or thunderstorms. Some of those storms could have hail and very gusty wind. Our high in the mid-90s. Back to sunshine on Sunday and right around 100. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, let me get my weather up here and refreshed. Currently 72 here in Roswell. Humidity is at 55%. Winds calm at the moment. We are looking at a 20% chance at showers and thunderstorms after 3 p.m. today. Mostly sunny, 91 otherwise, with northeast winds at around 5 miles per hour. 20% chance of rain continues into the evening hours till about 9 p.m. this evening. Partly cloudy otherwise, overnight low of 67 with southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. For you Saturday, we're looking at a 20% chance at afternoon showers and thunderstorms. They say some of those storms could be severe in nature. Otherwise, mostly sunny and a high of 94 with southeast winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Saturday night, we're looking at a 20% chance at showers and thunderstorms. Again, some of those storms could be severe. Partly cloudy with an overnight low of 67 degrees with south winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Sunny on Sunday, expect highs near 100, south winds 5 to 10 in the morning, 10 to 15 for the afternoon. And then next week, 102 on Monday, 102 Tuesday, 101 Wednesday, so pretty much 10-something all next week. All right, it is 9:20. We're going to take a quick commercial break. It's relatively quick in current commercial terms until the 5th. And then we'll play our interview with Bob Lavarakis on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
This is Chad Hamill, and I'm running to be your next senator for District 32. My opponent, Candy Azale, can't defend her 20-year record in the Santa Fe swamp, so she's attacking other people's families and kids on the radio. That's the difference in this race. Candy attacks other people's kids while I'm running to protect yours. And on my record, as a fire chief, I have seen the devastation of open borders. Fentanyl overdoses are out of control. As a small business owner here in the community, I know firsthand how politicians in Santa Fe have destroyed small businesses for our communities. As a previous school board member, I know local control has been ripped away from our schools. It is time for a change. The same old just isn't working. I will be your conservative voice in Santa Fe. Career politicians have gotten New Mexico into this mess, but as a firefighter, I've made my living running towards problems, and I'm ready to fix the problems. I humbly ask for your vote on June the 4th so we can put the fire out in Santa Fe. Paid for by friends of Chad Hamill.
You're invited. Car Affair 2024, presented by the Cars Club of Carlsbad. Saturday, June 1st at the beach in Carlsbad. Early registration is Friday with a cruise. Then Saturday, car registration starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 10:30 a.m. Enjoy music, food, car-related swap meet, a 5K run, door prizes, and a special Try 5 Chevys area. To register or for more information, visit carsclubofcarlsbad.com.
When you're healthy, you can do amazing things. We're all about that. Because if you don't have access to health insurance through your work, or you just lost Medicaid, Be Well can connect you to the right health plan for you, your family, and your budget. We want to make your life a little easier, worry-free, and healthier. Because your health is everything. Be strong, be adventurous, and be amazing. Be Well. New Mexico's health insurance marketplace. Learn more at BeWellNM.com.
When it comes to fighting the governor and her progressive lackeys in the state house, we need a proven conservative.
This is Jared Hembry, and I have taken on the left-wing agenda as your conservative representative. New Mexico has serious issues, many of which are being ignored by the governor and the liberal left, and we need a representative who will fight to protect our way of life. I know what it takes to fight and win in Santa Fe. I am humbly asking for your trust and your vote on or before June 4th so I can continue to fight for what we believe.
Paid for by Jared Hembry for state representative.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. More than 50% of Americans fall asleep on their sides. That's way better than falling asleep on someone else's side. Here's Mike Winters.
Joining it. And good morning. It is 8:31, and joining us in studio this morning from First Church here in Roswell, Bob Lavarock is back with us. Good morning, Bob. How are you doing?
Morning, Mike.
Great to see you. How was your Memorial Day?
It was excellent.
Spent some time with family?
Well, family's out of town.
Okay.
Went to the memorial service at South Park.
Oh, you went to the one that, down there at South Park.
Very,
excellent.
Very touching.
They did a great job down there.
They did. Yesterday. Kudos to them. Memorial Day, Veterans Day. My dad was an Army Ranger, and he was in the invasion of Normandy, Omaha Beach.
Oh wow!
And survived it, but unfortunately, 2 weeks later, he and his men were in a personnel carrier, and they were heading to deep into Germany, and they drove over a landmine. And my dad was one of two men to survive. He was blown up pretty badly, received numerous injuries. He was sent to London, and he was operated on. And when he was finished, when they were finished operating, first thing he said was, "I want to go back and fight."
Wow.
And they said, "Lieutenant, you can't. You can't." So he censored letters for the rest of the war. But the men from that and women from that generation, the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
One day, my dad finally opened up about what had happened. And I said, "Dad, you're a hero." And you know what he said to me? He said, "Bob, I'm not a hero."
Most don't look at them that way. Yeah.
He said, "I know many men that were better, much better soldiers and men than I was, and they died." That's the way. And unfortunately, my dad had a very bad case of what was called back then shell shock.
They didn't really understand PTSD back then. That wasn't a thing. And to be honest, Vietnam and pretty much anything pre-Gulf War, they really didn't talk much about that kind of stuff. So.
The thing is, my dad never had a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I would imagine.
He ended up being a chemistry professor, genius, brilliant man. Turned that awful part of his life around, and touched many lives by being a wonderful teacher. But I know this, that one day the Lord gave me the privilege and honor to lead him to Christ when he was 91 years old. A year later, he died, and right now I know that if there are times when he sleeps, which isn't biblical, but he has a new body, no pain, all joy, laughter, and
sleeps whenever he wants to.
Sleeps whenever he wants to. Yeah.
That's absolutely true. I believe, and you and I have said this. That's the beauty of God, is no matter how late to the ball game, you're always welcome.
Right.
And that's, with your dad, the life struggles and the things he saw. And that's why Memorial Day is what it is. When we talk about and you get those veterans that occasionally say thank you. It's always good to thank a veteran. I don't care. There's never a wrong time to thank a veteran.
Yes,
but
sir.
Sometimes veterans, when on Memorial Day, hey, thank you for your service. Like, well, it's not for me. This is for those that didn't come home. And you're absolutely right. But this is why that day is so much more, because it's the day is not. It's not even about the people that we lost. We lost them. It's the people that remember coming home and remember afterwards. The veterans, the ones that didn't come home, they're in a better place. I believe that.
Well, Mike,
and it's for us the day because it's for us to remember the importance of what those folks did. And I know we had the day of grilling and all that and family, and that's nothing wrong with that. That's important too. But the sacrifices that these young men and women have made before us that were 17, 18-year-old kids, in many cases, they're kids. Their highlight of the day is, I want to get a beer. I want to, you know what I mean? They want to live life. And so all that was taken away because they said that they were going to preserve the freedom that this country, and that's why Memorial Day is such a big deal. And yes, go out, do all the cookouts and family time together, because the veterans that paid the ultimate sacrifice is exactly what you want you to do, to be with your families, to have those times together. They did this so you can do that. So
don't take it for granted.
Yep.
Yeah.
But let's remember.
Whenever I come across any veteran, especially a Vietnam vet, because I was not too many months or a year away from being drafted, what I say to a Vietnam vet is, while you were fighting, while you were in the thick of it, on a Friday afternoon, I was looking around my classroom, looking at all the different girls, and who should I invite to the dance that night? Betty Sue or Mary or Sarah. I was doing that when you were dying in blood and agony so that I could live a life of freedom, of choosing. And it's cuckoo, but well, it's not. It's this is typical Jesus. When you think about it, Jesus said, "No greater love has any man than this, that he lays down his life for his fellow man."
Yep, absolutely.
And that's what those men did,
absolutely. And women. And I would almost be willing to guarantee that if you had an opportunity to ask those men and women if they do it all over again the same, they absolutely would.
Yeah.
And that's why we celebrate them and honor them.
My dad didn't open up until I was 50.
And that makes sense.
What happened was we were living in Texas, and my folks were living with us. We were taking care of them. Said, "Dad, would you like to go see Saving Private Ryan?" And we told him about the movie. So we all went, the whole family. And
he okay with it?
He handled it real well.
Okay.
But the way my dad was, he taught 3 types of college chemistry: organic, inorganic, and radioactive chemistry. He was very precise. He had to be. His life depended on it. And he was so specific that on the way home, we said, "Dad, was it the real deal?" And he said it sure was. He said the only mistake they made was that time of year, the apples would not have been ripened. They would have been green. He picked that out. Other than that movie, according to my dad, was right on the money.
That makes sense to me. And I just happened to watch some of it over the weekend because it was Memorial Day weekend and it was on quite a bit. And that movie, the parts what remind me, to me it's so true. I mean, it's not even the display of the explosions and the fight. Obviously the whole D-Day invasion at the beginning of that movie. People talk about the accuracy of it and the realness of it and everything else. And to me, yes, they did a great job with that. But that's not what makes that movie great to me. What makes that movie great to me is the fact that it nails the mindset of the GI. And what I mean by that, because if you've never seen the movie, the whole premise of the movie is Private Ryan's, all his brothers were killed in action. He's the last one left. And so this group of soldiers are tasked with a mission of going to find this kid in the middle of nowhere and bring him home. That's the whole point of the movie. And what makes that so real to me is the people in it. Those guys, the characters that are portraying every man of all, GIs, they nail that to me. Like, yes, they grumble, they talk, but when push comes to shove, they're going to do whatever. Like, yeah, why are we running around through Europe looking for this kid to send him home? I want to go home. That's and they do all that and they nail that. But when it's time to see what's going down and why they're doing it to a man, every one of them's like, nope, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And that succinctly gives an idea of what the typical GI mindset was to me. I think they nail that very well in that. And so the fight scenes are amazing, and they do a great job of evoking that. But to me, it's the conversations, the camaraderie, what's happening in the foxhole or in the church while they're getting a couple hours of sleep. That, to me, is what makes it so much better for me, and what makes that movie so realistic to me.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Anyway.
can I say this real quickly?
Yeah.
The thing is there might, and this is special to me. There might be men or women out there where their father came home and he had or she had problems of what the United States government asked them to do.
Sure.
We minister to men at Gyra Ministry that have been through that. We love them. We love on them. We supply them with whatever we can, and spiritually. The thing is my dad came home, and this might be one person, Mike, in your audience that say, well, gee, this guy's talking about my relationship with my father, that my dad lost something in the war. Okay. And the thing is I'd like to mention to these men and women that had a problem with their father. If he lost something and in his own strength he couldn't regain it, I know what you're going through. My father, wonderful man, but he, there were things that I needed from him that were just not in his ability to relate to someone as complex as I was,
Absolutely.
my brother, my sisters. The thing is, for many years, I was very unforgiving, even as a Christian, toward my father, because of the things that he did to me and the things he couldn't do for me. And one day, I walked into his room, his bedroom, a year before he died, and I said, Dad, I forgive you. I forgive you for what you did to me and you couldn't do for me. And he turned around and he said, Bob, I ask you to forgive me too. We left it all on the table, Mike.
That's awesome.
And 2 weeks later, the Lord asked me to go and to share the gospel with my father. And my father repented of all his sins,
That's awesome.
trusted Christ as Lord and Savior. A year later, he went on to be with the Lord. And right after he died, I was there, my brother and my oldest sister. And they looked and they said, gee, we've never seen this kind of peace, this look, this countenance on Dad's face. And I stayed humble, and I said, there's a very good reason for that. So
that's awesome that happened, that experience got to happen.
Yeah.
You always wish it was earlier in life, but better late than never, right? And it was so glad that you had to have that moment with your father, and he was able to let go and accept.
Yeah. So that's for someone out in your audience that might be going through that with their father.
Or anybody in life.
Anybody. Yeah, forgiveness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do it, but once you do it, you realize that so much goes away after that. You know what I mean? Once you've truly let that go, and it's not easy to do, but once you do it.
But most of it is not for that person, it's for you.
Absolutely.
Because if you harbor, like I did for many years, that's going to chew you up and spit you out.
All that anger and resentment's taking up valuable real estate in your head and creating a lot of other problems.
Yeah.
Yep.
Should we get on with why
Let's
I'm
talk
here?
about the good part. Let's talk about Vacation Bible School.
Yeah,
here.
you probably think of me as a lost long uncle that came to stay for 3 days, and gee, this guy comes back every 4 days, 10 days.
I love sharing wisdom on this show, and you're a man full of wisdom, and I love having you on.
God,
so it's a great thing.
Well, at First Baptist, from June 3rd through the 6th, in the morning from 8:30 to 12, we're having Vacation Bible School for kids who have completed kindergarten through 5th grade.
Excellent. So pretty much elementary-aged kids there.
Yeah. Every day, our kids are bombarded with questions. Did God really create everything? Why do bad things happen? Was Noah's Ark real? Why do I need to be saved? Can I trust the Bible? At this VBS, your kids will explore the biblical answers to these questions as they set off on an epic adventure from Genesis to Revelation, amid sloths, butterflies, river dolphins, and dart frogs. Your children will sail along on a fun jungle cruise, stopping at 7 ports of call. These ports are the 7 seas of history: creation, corruption, catastrophe, confusion, Christ, the cross, and consummation. Kids will discover how these events shape our world, and they will learn to reconnect the Bible to their everyday life. Prepare to swing into fun as we head out on the great jungle journey. Register on the First Baptist Church of Roswell website, fbcroswell.org, or you can please go ahead and call Shirley Bailey, our secretary, at 575-623-2640.
Yeah, if you're looking for a great week of it's fun. That's part of it too. It's a great week, and I encourage you to send your child to as many Vacation Bible Schools. You know, each church does one around here, and I say bring your kid to all of them. Why not? You know, that's give them exposed to as much of the fun and the message as possible.
Yeah, and Mike, Christianity isn't a club. You don't have to belong to our church. You don't have to belong. It's not a club.
No.
Our prayer is that every VBS given by every Bible-believing evangelical church in Roswell.
Love it.
That you do it to the best of your capability. For when we do things, we're not doing it for us as unto the Lord.
Absolutely.
And if I can just say about First Baptist, I've been a Christian 42 years. And I do not believe in jumping churches. I've only been to 3 in 42 years. And I'm going to give a shout out to the pastors, Pastor Chris Lithgow,
They do an
Pastor
amazing job.
Nathan Smith, Pastor Jacob Bassing, and Lori, who is the
youth pastor.
Is the youth pastor. No church is perfect, because if I could find a perfect church, the second I walked into it, Mike, it would become unperfect.
But I get what you're saying. You're right.
And people say, well, Bob, the church is full of hypocrites.
Yeah.
And what I say is, come on in, there's room for one more.
Absolutely.
The Apostle Paul was a hypocrite. Moses was. David was.
We're all sinners.
We're all sinners. We're all hypocrites in one way or another. We can't use that for an excuse anymore. That excuse doesn't fly.
And I would even argue, look at the world we live in today. Christianity is under attack. Does it matter if you're Baptist or Protestant or Methodist or Lutheran or Catholic? You're a Christian. Let's support Christianity.
Right.
And in a world where people are trying to tear down Christianity, maybe it's time to rally the troops. And we're all children of Christ, regardless if you're a Methodist or a Baptist or a Lutheran or a Catholic.
Correct.
Yep.
The pastor that led me to Christ, one of the first things, this is kind of when Jimmy Swaggart had his fall. And I said, Pastor, what do you think about Jimmy Swaggart's fall? And he said, Bob, I'm going to tell you this, and I want you to remember it. And I do. He said, in Christianity, we do not believe in burying our wounded. We're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to do that with unbelievers.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're not supposed to do it with unbelievers, how in heaven's name do we get the right or the privilege to throw people that have fallen under the bus? I've had to repent more as a Christian than before I was a Christian.
Sure.
And I'm thankful that the Holy Spirit does not condemn me.
If we're all perfect, we wouldn't need God now.
We wouldn't need God.
There's only one thing perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rest of us try to walk his path. That's all we're trying to do.
So at First Baptist, as with every other evangelical church in town, the pastors have worked tirelessly. The servants, again, I'm not going with volunteers. I'm going with servants at First Baptist and other churches have worked tirelessly. Why?
Because they want to. It's about serving God. That's what it is at the end of the day, and through that, pleasing ourselves and serving ourselves. Yeah.
Jesus said, "There's only 2 commandments to keep." Because the Jews in the Old Testament came up with 10, they couldn't keep those, so they went to another 613. So if you can't keep 10, how in the Lord's name can you keep 613?
Sure.
Jesus said only 2 things. He made it easy. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. We do this whole VBS ministries with churches. It's out of love for God first, and then our neighbor.
Absolutely.
That's simple.
Absolutely. And your kids will love it. This is the thing about vacation, because it presents this message, and obviously, they're all themed, and this one's going to be jungle themed, so there's going to be lots of animals and things like that. So the kids, the younger ones that are going to be gravitating towards the animals and stuff, will be getting that message. Obviously, as their 5th graders a little bit older, that message will resonate a little bit. But that's what Vacation Bible School is. It's completely free. So, bring your children. Come if you're coming to bring them because you want them to be babysat or whatever. Okay. But guess what? Don't be surprised if some great stuff rubs off on them while they're there for the week. Right. And so I kind of look at it like, whatever got you to the river, so be it. You know what I mean? You're here now, let's take a drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mike, I wish, you know my story. I wish someone had talked to me about this Jesus when I was 6, when I was 10, when I was 15. It would have, it maybe would have saved me a lot of pain. You know what? Yes and no. Yes and no.
Part of me says you had to go through what you had to go through to get to where you're at now.
Yeah.
I always, I've got things in my life like everybody does that you're not happy about or regret, or things you would maybe do different with an opportunity the second time around. But at the end of the day, it makes me who I am. And the things, the good part and the bad parts, is through my experiences in life. And so, sometimes you gotta hit the bottom to see the light, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of everything we're talking about here. It doesn't matter how dark, how deep down in that pit you are or were, or when in your life you were there. The moment you accept, all that goes away. It goes away.
Great point. And what's cool, and I know you have other people to be with, but the thing is what I've learned through the years, and it was a huge moment in my life. I realized and I understood November 7th, 1982, when I repented of all my sin, even the sin of murder. Jesus forgave me for every sin, and then he delivered me from being a drunk and a drug abuser. But down the road, and as Christians, thank God he doesn't give us everything in one day, because we couldn't take it. We couldn't understand it. Because how can my 2.5 pound, well, I'm getting a little heavy there. How can my 2 pound brain wrap itself around the finite God.
Sure.
It can't. But the thing is, and this is for people in your audience, believe me, when Jesus died for you, he not only died for all your sin, he took all your shame and guilt. If there's anyone out there that has shame or guilt about something they did 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, last night, turn to Christ and repent and say, I'm sorry, and he will release you from that shame and guilt. He did it for me, and the Bible says God is no respecter of persons.
Yep.
He did it for me, he can do it for anybody.
Absolutely.
Please think about it.
Absolutely. Before we go, give the dates and times for everything for the Vacation Bible School and for sign up to the logistical side. I know we hit him with a lot of stuff, but I do want to get him with the meat part here one more time.
Yeah. Vacation Bible School is from the dates of June 3rd through the 6th.
So next week here.
Correct. And the mornings will start at 8:30 and finish at 12.
Excellent. So it'll be done by noon, so you can pick them up and then have the afternoon with the kids to go do whatever you want to do next with them.
Yeah.
Or,
and who knows? Maybe something that a young child heard. They might
Absolutely.
repeat that to mom and dad.
Oh, it rubs off.
And they might start thinking, if they're not already Christians, they might start thinking a little more seriously.
Absolutely. You know, just think of the dinner table conversations that night.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Bob, as always, appreciate the visit. We'll see you next time here.
See you in 3 days.
We'll see you in 3 days. Thank you, sir.
Mike, we at First Baptist and the churches and the organizations in town, I can speak for them. We love you.
Well, thank you.
And we care for you. And we appreciate that you still believe in the First Amendment.
Absolutely.
And some people don't.
I'm a forum for everyone to especially when it comes to this. You know, this is how we grow as people. We learn. I'm a goofball, but at the same time, I do it. You know, if we can figure things, if we can solve problems this way, then we solve problems.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And this is a place for everyone. Yep. And including people I disagree with. So good deal. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
As always, Bob. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
8:58. Quick local news before more news. Don't go away.
Pat has been a steward of our land and was past chairman of the Soil and Water Board, and Pat was also past president of the New Mexico Cattle Growers Association. This Tuesday is the Republican primary. Please cast your vote for Pat Boone.
I'm Pat Boone, and I approve this message.
Yes, cannabis is legal in New Mexico. No, there are helpful rules to keep you safe. For instance, yes, you should only buy from a licensed dispensary. Know that if you don't, yours might contain harmful substances. And yes, cannabis slows reaction time. So, know that you should never drive high. Know your yeses and nos about all things cannabis. From the State of New Mexico Cannabis Control Division. Go to yesandnosnm.com.
This is Chaves County Sheriff Mike Harrington. Candy Ezell is running for the state senate, and I want to tell you why she's the best person for this job. Candy has been fighting for us. As a state representative, she's been an advocate for law enforcement and for the rule of law. She's been voting against Michelle Lujan Grisham's attacks on the Second Amendment for years. And whenever Candy stands up and says no, people pay attention. That's why we need her in the state senate. She's also been fighting for all the policies that have led us to the border crisis, including opposing catch and release of violent criminals, drivers, and professional licenses for illegals. A vote for Candy Ezell is a vote to restore law and order and to secure the border here in New Mexico. This is Chaves County Sheriff Mike Harrington asking you to vote for Candy Spence Ezell for State Senate District 32.
I'm Candy Spence Ezell asking for your vote in the upcoming Republican primary on June the 4th.
Paid for by Candy Spence Ezell for State Senate District 32.
Now your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. No injuries reported, thank goodness, after 2 tornadoes were reported in eastern New Mexico on Wednesday. Storms also dropped hail the size of tennis balls around Clovis. Power lines were also brought down in the strong winds. The city of Clovis, though, says there have been no reports of any major structural damage to homes or buildings. A representative, Roosevelt County Electric, said 25 power poles were blown down there. A little closer to home, the Missoula Children's Theater is looking for aspiring young actors to take part in this year's production of Jack and the Beanstalk. Auditions are being held on June 17th at the Ocotillo Performing Arts Center. Auditions are open to students in grades 1 through 12. No advanced preparation is necessary. Auditioners should arrive at 9:30 a.m. and be prepared to stay for at least 2 full hours. Some students will be asked to stay for a rehearsal afterwards. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello reporting.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today. We're headed for the mid-90s, a little bit breezy, and we should get sunshine. Overnight, a few clouds drifting through. We're in the mid-60s, and then we have a cold front moving through on Saturday. We could get a few showers or thunderstorms. Some of those storms could have hail and very gusty wind. Our high in the mid-90s. Back to sunshine on Sunday and right around 100. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. An inflation gauge closely watched by the Federal Reserve has prices rising 0.2% from March to April. Year over year, a 2.8% increase, still above the Fed's target rate of 2% or less. Federal regulators are giving Amazon the go-ahead to expand its drone delivery program. The company says the Federal Aviation Administration is allowing Amazon's Prime Air delivery service to operate its drones beyond visual line of sight. Europe has yet to shake the persistently stubborn inflation that has busted family budgets. Inflation ticked up to an annual rate of 2.6% this month. An official survey shows Chinese factory activity weakened this month on slowing export orders. That resulted in a mixed performance by stock markets overseas. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
This is Chad Hamill, and I'm running to be your next senator for District 32. My opponent, Candy Azell, can't defend her 20-year record in the Santa Fe swamp, so she's attacking other people's families and kids on the radio. That's the difference in this race. Candy attacks other people's kids while I'm running to protect yours. And on my record, as a fire chief, I have seen the devastation of open borders. Fentanyl overdoses are out of control. As a small business owner here in the community, I know firsthand how politicians in Santa Fe have destroyed small businesses for our communities. As a previous school board member, I know local control has been ripped away from our schools. It is time for a change. The same old just isn't working. I will be your conservative voice in Santa Fe. Career politicians have gotten New Mexico into this mess, but as a firefighter, I've made my living running towards problems, and I'm ready to fix the problems. I humbly ask for your vote on June the 4th so we can put the fire out in Santa Fe. Paid for by Friends of Chad Hamill.
Artesia General Hospital recently welcomed urogynecologist Scott Beard to the team. Dr. Beard is board certified in obstetrics and gynecology, as well as female pelvic medicine and reconstructive surgery. With nearly 25 years of experience in women's health, he treats conditions such as incontinence, chronic pelvic pain, prolapse, endometriosis, and others, offering surgical and non-surgical care options. Dr. Beard joins our women's services team currently working out of Memorial Family Practice in Artesia and is accepting new patients. Learn more and schedule your visit at artesiageneral.com/UROGYN or call 575-736-8394.
Hello, this is State Senator Greg Nybert. As you know, I represent Chaves County in the State Senate for District 27. I've represented us in the legislature for 8 years. I'm asking for your vote so that I can continue to be your strong voice for Chaves County. It is important that you go vote. Voting in Chaves County has been light, and there are contested races on the ballot this year, so your vote is very important. Early voting ends Saturday, and Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. As your state senator, I will continue to protect our Second Amendment rights, the right to life, our oil and gas industry, and our conservative Republican values. And I will, of course, do my best to bring economic development and growth to our community as I did with the recently announced Reno air races. I humbly ask for your vote for Greg Nybert in the upcoming Republican primary so we can keep Chaves County strong. Please go vote early this week. Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th.
Paid for by Greg Nybert for State Senate.
Your home for Sean Hannity in Roswell. 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
And good morning. We're closing in on 9:58. Got a few minutes here before we wrap up today's show. Of course, if you missed any part, I invite you to check it out at your leisure. Just log on to ksvptv.com, click on the Mornings with Mike Winters channel, and you'll find all of our interviews there. This morning, we replayed some interviews. We had Elaine Mayfield talking about Galacticon, part of the UFO festival that in the 7 o'clock hour. We replayed our interview with John LeMay, author, talking about his latest book. In that, we played in the 8 o'clock replayed, and then we just replayed our interview with Bob Lavarakis from First Baptist Church, talking about their Vacation Bible School. So all of that there, plus all of our interviews as well. Also, before we go, I want to remind folks, if you'd like to help, the Gonzales Hope Center is putting together summer blessing bags, and they're needing donations of items for homeless for this summer to put these bags together. Items they're collecting include bottles of water for immediate consumption, reusable water bottles so they can refill them and save some plastic here, plus deodorant, sunscreen, lip balm with SPF in it, Band-Aids, feminine care products, mints, body wipes, also little fans, cooling towels, shampoo, shavers, socks, underwear, toothbrushes, toothpaste, even non-perishable snacks, little bags of chips and pretzels, popcorn, and nuts and what have you, and also sunglasses and hats, umbrellas, things like that too. If you want, they do have an Amazon registry set up. You'll find a link to it on several different Facebook pages, including the Gonzales Hope Center Facebook page, the Food's Not Bomb Facebook page, Many Hands Facebook page. All have links to the Amazon registry there if you'd like to shop that way, or of course just stop by stores here in town and pick it up and drop it off to the Gonzales Hope Center and help them out that way. But with temps already getting 100 plus here next week, we haven't even officially started summer yet. They're trying to do stuff to help folks in our community here. So if you can reach out, that'd be a good thing. All right, that's going to do it for us. Have an amazing weekend. Thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of your day. We'll be back bright and early on Monday. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, or Roswell, New Mexico. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott.